غرق انقلاب است.
کشور ما، تاریخ ما درسی دگر فرا گرفته، گویی اهورا مستا دوباره در نور خود مرا گرفته. اکنون سرودی سر میدهم باز فارغ از رنج و تشویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. هن ای پدر، هن ای پسر، برخیز و باماش و همگاه، تا درد آن تجربه تلخ ما را نکشیده در خواب. بگذار هر دم بغرند گرگ‌ها در لباس میش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ای کارگر، ای برزگر، راحت کنون ادامه دارد در این زمان که پرتو یزدان از هر سو بر تو میبارد. پس پیش به سوی آزادی از بحر خزر تا کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. پا به پا بهر دفاع از استقلال و آزادی، تا بشکنیم پشت ارتجاع تیریزی ایران آبادی. تا زنده سازیم سنت‌های می از هر آیین و کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش.
با امید روزی که تمام این دلبشو و انقلاب تموم بشه و ما در روشنایی، نور و سعادت مردم کشورمون غرق بشیم.
نه خارجی، نه بیگانه، نه مستشارهای ویرانی، نه چیر خاران، نه کاسلیسان، فقط هم رزمان ایرانی. تا با شرافت میهنی بسازی بهر فرزندان خویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. مردم بیایید داخل صف ما، اکنون که آغاز رویاست. دشمنان بدانید ما زنده هستیم، بعد از ما هم ایران پابرجاست. آن روح شیطان ما را فریب داد با صد شعار مردمیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. پرچم ما، پرچم ایران غرق خون شهیدان، روی شانه هامان حمل میکنیمش در هر خیابان و میدان. تا ماسک دلغکان را برداریم از روی تسبیح و ریش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. جهان آفرین تا جهان آفرین نیاورد جز مهر و نیکی پدید بداندیشی و کینه و دشمنی بود خوی و کردار اهریمنی زمین دار و گفتار و کردار نیک همیشه پدید آید آزارنی چو ایران ما مهد زیبایی است مهین سرزمین اهورایی است دلم می‌کند هر دم آهنگ تو که ننگ است ماتم به فرهنگ تو چو ایران نباشد تن من نباد ملی بوم و بر زنده یک نباد. چنین ملت پاک و گردن فراز به یک جنبش تازه بودش نیاز بشد انجمن از دلیران پارس ز پاکان و روشن ضمیران پارس از ایران زداید نشان بدی بر افروزدان پره ایزدی سپربند کند بزم ناباد را کند بارور از هنر خاک را هنر دانش و رامش و شادی است هماهنگی و صلح و آزادی است چو ایران نباشد تن من مباد ملی بوم و بر زنده یک تن نباد.
Well, good morning, Patriots. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. This is day 30 of Iran Revolution Live with your hosts, the amazing Armin Navabi, and of course, myself, little old Goldie Gamari. Thank you for being here. We have another jam-packed day with a lot of information for you, both coming out of Iran, occupied Iran, and of course from around the world as well. But before we begin, just a quick note: there is a White House briefing that's happening at 1 p.m. I'm assuming it's about Minnesota, but I don't know. Maybe we should tune in just in case, Armin. I don't know what you think.
Well, I mean, I think there is going to be about a lot of things as they usually are. And I think somebody might ask, I think you're right. Somebody might ask about Iran. So we might be wanting to play it safe just in case.
Okay. So how are you doing, Armin?
I have a lot of energy. More people from Iran are getting connected to the internet. So I'm getting a lot of messages from inside Iran, and they seem to be in it for total victory. So their energy is giving me a lot of energy. And Goldie, you're so right, because as they're getting more connected to the internet, even though they're reporting the horrific event that happened, I'm not seeing them backing down. All of the messages shows that they're ready to fight again, and if after what they've gone through, if they are in it for the final battle and to win, then we have no excuse. So your point on this is not a time to just back down and lose hope is so on point, because if they have filled with hope, then who are we to say no to that, right? So I'm so grateful that you basically lifted us all up to make sure that we keep fighting at this and in these dark times.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that. No, I mean, it was a team effort. I mean, you also did a lot to lift up all of our spirits, and on by popular or by a lot of demand, I put out your ICE translation video. So that's there now.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
We might have to do a Haydar one too. So who knows?
Yeah.
So no, you've also done a lot to keep all of our spirits lifted, and especially the translation video. Someone asked me if I can share that translation video of the guy in the Danish embassy, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that one. We'll see.
Yeah,
That
I
one,
don't know.
you might have to
Oh,
upload that to your own channel, not not
yeah.
mine. But yeah, so I'd love to hear from while we're waiting for the White House press conference to start. Maybe you can give us some updates from what you're hearing from people in Iran. I mean, the friends that you're getting connected to.
Yeah, so I just received a 9-minute audio message from one of my friends who just got connected to the internet. I also sent him a follow-up message saying if I could play it or not, and I haven't received a response. So what he went, he's from the city of Rasht, and he went through a detailed account of what happened, and I think this is a very important document once he gives me the permission to share it, because his explanation of what happened is very, very detailed, right?
Is that
And
about the
he
fire?
himself, it includes that, but it includes like a lot of other things that he witnessed by his own eyes. And he himself was basically under fire, and so many people around him died, and he got injured, but it's actually, he got very, very lucky that he's still alive. He says he has never seen anything ever like this. People dropping, like bodies, just bullets coming, and he was hearing bullets going past him, and he was just watching people fall on the ground as he was running away. So he has a very detailed account, and after experiencing all of that, he's still ready to like go back out, and he thinks that this is also the views of other people as well. So that is, I don't know if I don't know where they get this courage and strength. Like, I don't know if I would be able, if I went out and if I saw something so horrific, people falling, like bodies just dropping on the ground as I hear bullets passing my ear, and then after that saying that we're ready to go back out and do this again. Like, I don't know what are these people made out of? Like, I don't know where all this courage comes from, but it's crazy. But Rash, guys, was horrific. What they did in Rash is one of the most horrific, and yeah, includes the fire. So by the way, what Goldie is referring to is that in Rash, they once they started shooting into the crowd, the Iranian people went into the Rash Bazaar, which is a very beautiful like bazaar, like a very historic bazaar. And the reason why they ran into there, they ran away from the main square and into the bazaar. And the reason why they ran into the bazaar is because there's so many like alleys, and it's like a maze, and they thought that they're going to be safe there. But what the armed forces did is that they basically surrounded the entire bazaar, and they set the bazaar on fire, right? So they were waiting for outside the bazaar to just let the whole bazaar on fire, so that either people stay and they burn alive in the bazaar, or they come out of the bazaar, and they were waiting for them to shoot them while they're coming out. And by the way, my friend also mentioned in that audio message that he himself witnessed people raising their hand, to not to surrender, and being shot while they're raising their hand to basically get arrested instead of killed. And even people who were raising their hand were just being shot.
Savages. They really are savages. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Apparently, Mark Levin also spoke about Iran last night. So he was speaking about it on Fox News. I'm going to see if I can find that, and maybe we can oh yeah. Oh, this is also something I was going to mention this yesterday, but I didn't have time. Here, let me pull this up. So guys, there's a lot of stuff that we want to share, but of course we're keeping an eye on the White House press conference, and we're going to go to that. We're going to go to that when it starts, just because it is the White House. But Armin, look at this. So, research group Golden Owl has identified a vast coordinated social media influence operation linked to the Islamic Republic. Thousands of accounts within the network focused on amplifying regime narratives, attacking the opposition, and sowing division amongst the opposition. So, of course, we already know this, right? We already know this, but this is what we were warning you guys. So remember, a lot of you were concerned, you were hearing rumors about things, and some of you were asking like, oh, like is the revolution over? Is it all done? And we're like, no, like it's not over. That's just like Islamic regime propaganda. And then, a lot of people were attacking me or attacking Armin or whatever the case might be. It's all interconnected, right? So we're going to definitely be speaking about this as well. Let me just read. There's actually, I found the report for that somewhere, but look at this. Mark is a true supporter because he's also sharing that information as well, right? So, but I wonder if he's posted a video because he was on Fox News last night. Let me see if I can find him.
Can I tell you something that I saw that made me angry? So you could be angry with me?
Yes, of course.
So Tucker Carlson and Anna Kasparian are coming out, and they're both agreeing with each other and arguing that this is why the Islamic Republic needs to have an atomic bomb. In the middle of this revolution, they're both making the point for why the Islamic Republic needs to have a nuclear weapon, and they're agreeing with each other in this.
Insane.
Yeah,
Tucker's just crazy. But you know what? Ted Cruz is all over Tucker Carlson. Remember Ted Cruz called out Tucker Carlson on Fox News on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo. But Tucker Carlson is insane. Like he's funded by people that are like affiliated with the regime apparently. Yeah. Tusi's also going live in so guys, Mahir Tusi is going live in 45 minutes, but depending on what's happening at the White House, we might have to like watch Tusi after the White House. I just don't know because there's a bunch of things that are happening all at once. So we're just going to be monitoring that all. But let me see if I can find Mark's video from last night because he always says really, really great things. Mark Levin. Let's see. I don't know if this is the one.
There's a lot of posts being made about the family members of regime officials outside of Iran living luxurious lives and being exposed. So that's also a lot of that is going viral on social media as well.
Of regime family members?
Regime family members living in Europe or Canada or United States. There's so many posts about them, like people following them right now and showing how luxurious their lives are and how non-Islamic, by the way, their lives are, like partying and dancing and girls and stuff like that. So that right now is something that is, a lot of people on social media are posting about.
It's disgusting. I don't know if you want to. I mean, if you want, you can share some of those videos. There's like that one guy, right? Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let me see. Let me share something that Tommy Robinson actually said about all of this. Meanwhile, this is it. Okay, yeah, actually, let me show you guys this. Share screen. Okay. Remove. Add. Okay, so this one. So it says the minimum wage per month in Iran is $90 to $110. Meanwhile, this is how the children of Iran's regime elite live. This is Sasha Sobhani, the son of former Iranian ambassador to Venezuela. So let me play this. I don't know if there's music here.
It's my birthday.
Okay, I'm going to mute the song because it's probably copyrighted.
Yeah.
So this is the children of regime officials. This is how they live outside of Iran. And Tommy Robinson actually posted something about responding to this. So
It's my birthday.
let me go back to Tommy. So here.
Can we just see Western nations banning, whether it be Canada, America, Britain, Europe, Monaco, anywhere, Western nations banning all the family of these terrorist regime in Iran? Because whilst they're enslaving their population, their own family, their children and their relatives are enjoying the freedom of Western nations, whilst their parents are subjugating, massacring, murdering the Iranian people for daring to want to show their hair and have freedom. It's a fucking joke. Get every one of their families on a sanction list. Why is that not already done? Why are they in our nations? Get them out. Don't let them enjoy the freedom of the West whilst they impose slavery and Islamic regime on people. It's insane. Can we just see Western nations?
So I know Nail Bunny sent me a lot of these, so I'm gonna see. It's going to be hard for me to find them, but let me see if Nail Bunny is sending me that. So this is, yeah. As we go through, I'm going to find more of these. I'm going to share this to you guys. Something is Nail Bunny saying this is good to announce. What is this? قتل عام مردم قطعی مشاهدات خود را در برنامه به ایران بگوی. Okay, so yeah, so Iran International is basically announcing to people to call these numbers. I think Manitou would be also good here. So let me show this. So Iran International is giving out numbers for people to call from inside Iran to tell their account of what they saw inside Iran. So these,
yeah, Iran International is okay, but I think Manitou is better.
Manitou is better.
Manitou,
yes.
Iranian people trust Manitou more than they do Iran International.
Let me actually do that then.
Yeah.
This is in Tamas. Okay, is what number do they call? In Tamas is
It's on their video. It's right there on the video too. So it's +44
+44 204 610 0892. And they call. So this is a 5-minute call. At some point, if you want me to play this and translate it, I could do this one. It's a 5-minute call from inside Iran.
Yeah. Well, why don't we, if you want, we can translate that, because I'm keeping an eye on Fox, like on the press conference. So like, if you want, you can translate that, and then as soon as like the press conference starts,
okay,
we can switch over.
Okay, so interrupt me if it starts.
I will.
Okay, tell me to stop talking. Okay, so let's play this one.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So this is a call from inside Iran to Manitou. Manitou is Persian, but they're based in the UK. So this is a message from inside Iran. So let's see their account.
خب چرا بچه‌ت به مدرسه نرفته؟ میگه دختر کوچیکم که آسم داره و به خاطر اینکه حالا گاز اشکاور میزدن میان کامپیوتر لپتاپ بچه‌هاشو موبایلشونو چک میکنن. بعد خانوما میان دونه دونه دخترها اینو بردن تو اتاق میجان بردن تو اتاق لخت کردن.
Oh my God. So government agents will come to people's houses, and they are checking their phones. They check their phones for like files and videos and images. And they say that there are female government agents that come and they take the girls, like girls, they take them into the room and they basically take off all their clothes to, basically make them all complete naked, like children.
چک میکنن. بعد خانوما میان دونه دونه دخترها اینو بردن تو اتاق میجان بردن تو اتاق لخت کردن. ببین دختری که جلو مادرش هم لخت نمیشده. مادرش میگه دارین چی کار میکنه؟ این خانم دوستم جان مادرم داشت با گریه میگفت، میگه خفه شو. میگه خب چرا این چی شده؟
دنبال جای ساچمه بودن شاید.
بچه ها رو لخت کردن دونه دونه چون مدرسه نرفتن.
So saying because these children, the girls didn't go to school, the government will show up and they will take them into their room in a house, and they will basically, in front of strangers, they will take off all their clothes And the mom would say, "What are you doing to my child?" And the government agents would tell them to shut the f up. And the host of Manitou says, I think they were looking for, remaining like shotgun scars on their body to see basically if they were part of the protest or not.
که ببینن تو بدنشون جای ساچمه نبوده.
بله.
Yeah, so the man is confirming like that. So if your child has not been participating in school, the government will come to your house and basically take off all their clothes and look on their bodies for scars from shotguns to see if they were participating or not.
روحیه باباش داغون بود.
So his father, this broke the father. Like it broke the family, broke the father of these children, of these girls.
مادرش داشت، یعنی خانم دوستم داشت زار اشک می‌ریخت. ببین بچی 9 ساله، دختر 13.
So the mother was basically crying like crazy.
مادرش داشت، یعنی خانم دوستم داشت زار اشک می‌ریخت. ببین بچی 9 ساله، دختر 13 ساله، 15 ساله رو.
So these are like 9-year-old, 13-year-old, 15-year-old children.
کی 9 ساله، دختر 13 ساله، 15 ساله رو ببری تو اتاق دونه دونه لخت کنی، بازرسی بدنی کنی که چون مدرسه نیومدن شاید جای ساچمه تو بدنش بوده.
So yeah, they're saying basically the government's excuse is that just because they haven't arrived, they weren't participating in school. They supposedly might have been participating in the revolution, so they're looking for pellet marks on their bodies.
بعد از اون خانم دوستان گفت این اتفاق برای دامادشون، یعنی برای اون شوهر خواهرش هم افتاده، اون پسر داشته، اونا رو توی مدرسه دونه دونه بردن لخ کردن. یعنی
So he's saying another family member said that this happened to their children as well, but they did this to them in school. So like little school boys, the government agents showed up at school and they will take like little boys there, they would take them into a room and take off all their clothes looking for pellet marks.
حالم بد شد اونجا. حالم بد شد. اینقدر عمق این فاجعه زیاده. فقط
So like the level of tragedy here is so high that I'm feeling sick.
برای اینکه مدرسه نبوده می‌خواستن ببینن جای ساچمه تو بدنشون بوده یا نه.
اگه پیدا می‌کردن بچه رو می‌بردن با خودشون.
بله اگه پیدا می‌کردن می‌بردن.
So he said the hosts are saying that if they saw any pellets on their bodies, they will probably take the children with them.
دقیقاً گفته بود اگر که جای ساچمه تو بدنشون بود می‌بردیم و جسدش رو تحویلت می‌دادیم.
Oh my God, the regime officials were telling the family members that if they saw any pellet marks on their bodies, they will take the children and they will just hand over their corpse after. That's what the regime officials would tell, like threatening the family members by saying that if once we check the body of your children, if we see any pellet marks, any scars from the revolution, we will just take them with you and then we will deliver back their corpses.
یعنی اصلا نمیدونن چی بگم وقتی برام تعریف می‌کنن. ما داریم
و این مرام بچه شیعه هاست.
Oh my God, the host is saying that this is the behavior of Shias. This is how Shias behave.
شیعه ها اینجوریان.
ببخشید عدل علیشون خودت هم گفتی تو برنامه اینه؟
این همین آره.
So they're saying this is the justice of Ali. Ali is the first imam of Shias. They're saying like, is this what the justice of Ali looks like?
همین اینه.
یعنی واقعا اینه.
اصلا اسلام اینه.
Oh my God, the host is saying this is Islam. This is Islam. What you're witnessing is Islam. Guys, you see how in agreement people are regarding that this doesn't just represent the Islamic Republic. This represents Islam. Like more and more you're saying, by the way, I just got another report from inside Iran that somebody said that their mother is not praying anymore because of all of this. Like a mother that always prayed, even though they're not with the regime, they still were Muslim and praying. I just got somebody saying, their mother is refusing to pray anymore. Like, let's continue.
میگن این اون نیست، دروغ میگن همینه.
He's saying when they tell us that what the Islamic Republic is doing is not the real Islam, they're lying to us. This is Islam.
اینه میگن این اون نیست دروغ میگن همینه.
By the way, guys, look at this. These are supposed to be the hosts of a professional news channel, right? So they're not supposed to take a position against Islam as a religion. But look at the situation.
It's a little bit too late for that, Armin, because we're all just so disgusted by how they're treating our people. Like even our like professional news anchors who are supposed to remain objective, like they can't hold it in because this is personal for all of us.
Yeah, you guys, even professional news anchors are, like this is our like mainstream news channel. Even they are saying, like, yeah, this is Islam. This is real Islam.
از همه جا فیلم‌ها رو داری می‌بینی جسد روی جسد.
He's saying there's corpses on top of corpses, like mountains of corpses.
همون سپهری که چند دقیقه پیش خودتون تو برنامه داشتید میگفتید. خب این چه سناریویی پیاده کردن؟ یه آقایی رو آوردن تو تلویزیون گفت نه.
Like for example, you were talking about Seper. Guys, Seper has become now famous among Iranians inside and outside Iran because of the video that we showed you here when the father was looking for his son and saying, Seper, Seper, my son, where are you? So that everybody, like, that has become like everybody knows that story now.
یه آقایی رو آوردن تو تلویزیون گفت نه آقا اصلا من نبودم صدای من نیست. چه سناریوهایی دارن چه فشارهایی روی.
So the regime is doing so many propaganda. Like for example, they brought somebody to say like, oh, I'm Seper's father. That was not my voice. That was fake. So the regime is on full propaganda mode right now.
مردم پیاده میکنن. بدن جسد رو برای من تعریف کردن. وقتی میدن تحویل میگن لخت میکنن جسد رو چک میکنن چند تا گلوله خورده.
بله.
بابت گلوله میگه پول باید بدی.
بله.
Oh, okay. So guys, this is again a confirmation. Another person confirming that when they are handing over the bodies, they take off the clothes of the body. They look for bullets, and you have to pay for each bullet. By the way, guys, this goes against the narrative that the Islamic Republic is sending to outside world, saying that it's the Zionist spies who are killing people. If it's Zionist spies, then why are you charging for the bullets? Like it wasn't your bullets, right? So the regime right now, when you go up to pick up the body, they're looking for bullet marks, and they charge you a lot of money for each bullet before they hand over the body, saying that you have to pay for the bullets that we had to spend to kill your child, right? So this is an admission that these were your bullets, not like Zionist spies from outside.
That's you know what, Armin, that's a really good point. Like they can't even keep their lies straight. They just put out lie after lie after lie. But as you can tell, everything is a contradiction.
Exactly.
They're shameless.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, for people who don't know, if you can't afford the bullets, and some people refuse to pay for the bullets because they know they're going to spend that money to kill other people's children, right? But if you can't afford it, or if you don't want to pay them, they say that another way to get your child is to come to pretend that your child was with us and he was like a regime force, like a Basiji, and it was killed by Zionists. So that's another way to, let's go.
And as much of the country feels the impacts of that winter storm, President Trump continues to monitor the situation closely, and he has remained in constant contact with FEMA and emergency responders. President Trump also quickly approved 12 federal emergency disaster declarations within 24 hours for the states of Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, enabling these states to access critical federal resources to supplement their response efforts if needed. These declarations will help state-led efforts of turning power back on, clearing roads for emergency services, and keeping communities safe. The White House will continue to correspond directly with governors and local officials in the coming days, especially in those states that were harshly impacted by this storm. I would also like to address the chaotic scenes in Minnesota over the weekend. Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good, Alex Preddy, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals. Saturday's shooting remains under active investigation by Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI. The Customs and Border Protection is also conducting their own internal review. As President Trump said yesterday, the administration is reviewing everything with respect to the shooting, and we will let that investigation play out. But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota. For weeks, Governor Walz and the Mayor Jacob Frey and other elected Democrats were spreading lies about federal law enforcement officers who are risking their lives daily to remove the worst criminal illegal aliens from our streets: murderers, rapists, pedophiles, human traffickers, and gang members. Governor Walz and Mayor Frey have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE, actively inhibiting efforts to arrest violent criminals. They have also used their platforms to encourage left-wing agitators to stalk, record, confront, and obstruct federal officers who are just trying to lawfully perform their duties, which has created dangerous situations threatening both these officers and the general public and Minnesotans alike. This is precisely what unfolded in Minneapolis on Saturday morning. Obstructing federal law enforcement and inciting violence against officers is wrong and illegal. This used to be a universally accepted position in the United States. Amid the hysteria, we must remember how we got here to this moment today and what this Democrat opposition is about. Former President Joe Biden and the Democrats opened America's borders for 4 years, inviting tens of millions of illegal aliens from all over the world to flood into our country. Among them, violent criminals who terrorized American communities and have inflicted devastating, permanent pain and harm on law-abiding Americans and their families. Yet we never saw outrage from Democrats or their allies in the liberal media over these horrifying crimes against U.S. citizens. The pain of American angel families was ignored and dismissed because it undermined the Democrat narrative. Innocent Americans like Jocelyn Nungray, Laken Riley, and Rachel Morin are just a few of the many victims savagely murdered by illegal alien criminals. Earlier this month, an illegal alien from Mexico with a long criminal history who came into our country under Joe Biden's administration threw a baseball-sized stone at a school bus carrying children in New Jersey and fractured the skull of an 8-year-old innocent child. President Trump promised accountability to these American families by securing the border, deporting every illegal alien who has committed crimes, especially and most importantly, violent crimes. Nearly 80 million Americans voted for him to deliver on that very promise, and he is. As the duly elected president, the president is fulfilling the will of the people by arresting and removing these threats from our country in cities from Los Angeles to New York and, yes, Minneapolis. Yet Democrat leaders in Minnesota with sanctuary city policies have actively defied federal immigration law and the will of the people. And as a result of that defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets of Tim Walz's state. It is President Trump's hope and wish and demand for the resistance and chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding citizens only, not for dangerous illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning. Americans overwhelmingly want exactly what President Trump is delivering: strong borders and strict immigration enforcement against the worst illegal aliens, of which there are still hundreds of thousands to deport from the interior of our country. The most peaceful way to carry out this vital public safety mission is for Republicans and Democrats to do it together, and for state and local law enforcement to work together with federal law enforcement. We want to let cops be cops. You wouldn't know this continues to be a very popular policy position from the biased media coverage over the course of the last few days, but polling shows huge support for this exact thing President Trump is calling for. More than 80% of Americans favor deporting illegal aliens convicted of violent crimes. A country unable to deport criminals who enter it illegally is no country at all. The open borders agenda of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and the Democrats was already on the ballot on November 5th, 2024, and it was resoundingly rejected. President Trump will never back down from his promise to deport violent criminal illegal aliens and make America safe again, and he welcomes all cooperation in that effort. With that, I will answer your questions. And Jordan Conradson, why don't you kick us off today? Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Caroline. Jordan Conradson with the Gateway Pundit. I have a few questions. First, with respect to the shooting in Minneapolis, we're seeing massive outrage from mainstream media and the left, but I'm just wondering, where was that outrage when Ashley Babbitt, an Air Force veteran, was?
Do you think they're even going to ask about Iran, Armin? Maybe not.
Who she posed no threat to in the U.S. Capitol.
I mean, last time it seemed like they were given the
I just raised as well
or the instruction not to ask any questions about Iran. So maybe so maybe this time they also give them the same instruction.
And highlighting their stories.
What do you guys think in the chat?
President Trump
let us know in the chat. Do you think they're going to ask about Iran? They might not.
In the streets of America and in American communities across the country. He believes what happened on Saturday is a tragedy, but every life is equal to President Trump. And that's why the lives of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungray continue to matter to him and be an utmost priority to him to this very day. And it's unfortunate that we did not see the same type of sensationalist media coverage over the tragic deaths of those innocent American women and girls across the country as we are in the wake of this tragedy that took place on Saturday. Gabe. Sure, go ahead.
I want to get your response to this.
This is a good point.
The Arizona Attorney General, just days before this shooting in Minneapolis, she seemingly encouraged
I agree with that.
Go out, shoot, and kill ICE agents. And I'll quote her here. She said, if you reasonably believe your life's in danger and you're in the...
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, because I feel like if they're preparing like some sort of military action or something, they're not going to want to give it away. And last time, none of the reporters asked anything except for like that Palestinian one, right? So, okay. So we'll turn away from this then, because now we're just getting to the questions here. 2C's beginning in about 15 minutes. Armin, did you want to continue the translation of the Manitou video?
Okay, sure. Let's do that.
Okay. And then, guys, I'm keeping an eye on 2C as well.
Okay. All right, so let's continue.
بعد اینکه پولو دادی تازه ماجرای بعدی شروع میشه این برگه رو امضا کن.
So he's saying that after you pay for the bullets to be able to on the bodies of your loved ones to the regime to be able to take the body of your loved ones home from the regime, he's saying that's just the first part. Then what they have to do, they put some documents in front of you and you have to sign some documents.
بچم بسیجی بوده تروریست. آخه میخوام ببینم.
So you're saying like, oh, the documents say my son, my child was a Basiji and were killed by terrorists.
چند تا تروریست؟ چرا
So the man who's calling is saying like I want to know how many terrorists. like basically pointing to how insane and how absurd this claim is, because there were so tens of thousands of Iranians killed. He's like saying, "Oh, like how many terrorists are you going to claim that were inside Iran just killing Iranians?"
شعور مردم بازی میکنید. چرا
He's like, do you think like why do you think like the Iranian people are insane? Do you think like the Iranian people are stupid?
یکی مثل اون عراقی اون قوه قضایی اطفال جانی اژه‌ای میاد دختر بچه 16 ساله رو میاد جلو دوربین با اون بازجو خبرنگارش.
So he's basically really angry with Araghchi, the foreign minister of the Islamic Republic, and Ejei, the head of the judiciary, the head of the judicial branch of the government, because I don't know if you guys saw that, because Ejei went on the Islamic Republic state TV, and they had a girl, 16-year-old girl in front of them, basically interrogating them on state TV. So if guys think about like the highest judicial official, like I mean, like for example, one of your supreme court leaders basically coming on state TV and interrogating a 16-year-old girl. So that's what we just recently had on the Islamic Republic state TV. So he's referring to that.
میگن که جرمت میدونی چیه؟ محارب، اعدام. میدونی
So Ejei was telling that 16-year-old girl, do you know what your crime is? Muharib. Guys, basically means waging war against God, which is it's a crime by the Islamic Republic that is referred to a Quranic verse in the Quran, waging war against God, and the punishment for it is execution. So this was on state TV.
یعنی چی دختر 16 ساله آقای امید؟ اینایی که صدا میشنوید
دختر 16 ساله باکراست. دختری که داره بکارت هست نمیتونن اعدام کنن.
Whoa, my God. So the host is saying a 16-year-old girl is virgin and they can't execute her because she's a virgin. Basically, he's suggesting that they're probably going to rape her before they execute her so that they could execute her.
اول باید بکارتش رو ازش بگیرن بعد اعدامش کنن.
So yeah, before they execute her, they have to take her virginity away from her before they could execute her. That means they have to rape her.
مگه این کارو نکردن؟
بله در دهه 60.
So like they already have done this many times in the 1980s.
در زندان ها.
مگه ببین محارب به چی؟ سنگ برداشته تو کوچه پرت مأمور کرده.
So she's saying that girl was somebody who just picked a stone and threw it at one of the regime armed forces. That's what they want to execute her for, just throwing a stone at somebody, one of the armed forces.
کجای دنیا دیدی؟
So somebody Sarah in the chat is saying, is this for real? Yes, this has been documented. This is what the regime does. This is what the regime has done.
This is what they've been doing for the last 47 years. Yeah, like we've said this a lot. Before they execute Iranian women, they rape them to make sure that they're not virgins, because virgins go to heaven, and so they rape them to make sure that they go to hell. It's been documented. Yeah.
تو کدوم دنیا دیدین؟ تو کدوم تاریخ خوندین یه همچین جنایتی؟ بابا هولوکاست.
He's saying, where have you seen anything like this? In what world, in what history have you seen people committing crimes like this?
بابا هولوکاست هم اینجوری نبود.
He's saying even the Holocaust was not like this.
توی لهستان هم باور کنید هیتلر اینجا اگه آدم سوزون فکر نکنم این کارهایی که اینا دارن میکنن با.
So he's saying Hitler in Poland, even if they were burning people's bodies, I don't think Hitler was doing these things to people. So he's saying like even in the Holocaust, Jews were being killed and their bodies were being burned, but they weren't doing this. They weren't doing
they weren't like raping them first before murdering them to make sure their souls go to hell, or things like that.
جسد مردم حرومزاده هاتون رو ببرید. ببخشید من این حرف البداهه تو دهنم در اومد وگرنه میسوزونیمش.
نه این فحاشی نیستش قربان، شرح حالشون هستش. درست میفهم.
So he's calling them bastards and he's apologizing for swearing on their TV station, and the host is saying, this is not an insult. This is like a description of what they really are.
اصلا بدون
So he's basically saying, go ahead and swear. Like, it's fine, you could swear.
چی نیستش قربان، شرح حالشون هستش. درست میفرمایید.
اصلا بدون فیلمش هست، بعد میان میشینن توی کلاب هاوس و اپلیکیشن های دیگه و توی همین اینستا میشینی دفاع از چی میکنی؟
They're like, we have videos of these crimes. So why are some people are coming into Clubhouse and Instagram and what are defending the regime? Like, what are you defending?
تروریست کدوم تروریست؟
They're saying terrorists. What terrorists? Because guys, like, the regime keeps saying that, oh, we didn't kill these people. There were Zionist terrorists inside Iran killing these people. So the man is saying, terrorists. What terrorists? What are you talking about?
بابا به مرغ پخته بگی میخنده بهت.
So this is an Iranian saying, if something is very, very ridiculous, they say, if you say that to a cooked chicken, the chicken will start laughing. This is an Iranian saying. When you want to describe something to be extremely ridiculous, they say that if you say this narrative to a chicken that is already dead and cooked, it will start laughing.
این همه فیلم در اومده، دختره رو داشت میدوید، اسمش یادم رفت، رو پشت بود گرفته بودن، تیر زدنش توی افتاد زمین.
Like, we have so many videos coming out with so much evidence. Like, what there was one girl that was running and she was shot dead from a sniper from a rooftop. Like, we basically saying there's so many videos, we saw what's happening. How could they go out and basically give their crazy narratives about what's happening?
جسدی که تو خیابون زنده بود با گلوله زدی تو سرش.
So we saw like videos of like people of a body in the streets that was still alive, like an injured body that was lying in the streets. We saw the snipers basically taking out injured people, still alive, lying in the streets.
تیر خلاص زدن به بچه‌های ما.
Yeah, basically they killed our children in the streets. Tire khalas is like basically the last bullet that you shoot at somebody to take them out, even if they're injured.
تا تیر خلاص دادن به اون خانم کنار افتاده بود بین باغچه و آسفالت.
So it's like, oh guys, but I have a picture of what he's talking about, which I can't show. So he's saying like there was a woman lying injured between like a garden area and the asphalt, and they basically shot at her even though she was lying on the ground injured. They shot at her 3 times to kill her.
آقای پیرمردی نشسته بود، پاش زخمی شده بود، تیرو میزنی بهش بدترین فوش و ناسزا میدی.
And like there was another video. These are the ones that we're not showing you guys here. There was another video of a old elderly man that his leg was injured. He was sitting and his leg was injured, and they come to him and they start shooting him dead while swearing at him. While shooting at him while swearing at him.
اینا همینن، اخلاق مداریشون، عدلشون، محبتشون، مردمداری، همشون همینه دیگه.
This is their morality. This is their justice. This is all like their people loving narratives that they always had. This is what they were talking about. This is the regime's morality.
نشون میدن و دیگه چه جوری بگن ما جانیم.
Like they are showing us, like how else could they tell us that they're psychopaths? Like this is like how else could they communicate that to us?
هیدر میگن، دختر مردم رو تیر خلاص میزنن.
Like they say Haydar while basically shooting our girls dead.
Maybe because you're almost finished the video, maybe you could give an explanation of like hey dad, and then you could play that song again where it shows these like the Islamic regime savages where they're like beating their chests for I don't know some Arab warlord, but then they're going out murdering Iranians, right? So that will put it in context. So when this Iranian father says they chant hey dad while they're murdering young girls, it's because he's referring to like this like satanic like Islamic Shia cult where they like and for those of you who were with us last night, you saw like we were like making fun of them, but it's like a thing. So maybe after like just explain that part again and then you can share that video.
Yeah, so Haydar, guys, Haydar means lion in Arabic, and the Shia Muslims, when they want to do something brutal or something that they think that's courageous or manly, they always refer to Ali as their role model, right? So whenever they want to act like a victim and they were like, oh my God, we're being wronged by America or whatever, they refer to Hussein or maybe Fatima. But whenever they want to act tough and like manly and strong, they refer to Ali, which is the first Imam of Shias, and they say Haydar, which is Haydar as the lion that Ali as a lion, right? That's how they refer to it. That's why
it's also something that that they use when they're like taunting or attacking Jewish people as well. Like for example, after October 7, a lot of them were chanting Haydar Haydar Ya Yahud, which refers to like some battle where like the Muslim savages slaughtered a bunch of Jewish people or something, like 700 Jews. So yeah, this Haydar thing, it's just like a terrorist war cry that they use against everyone. And even this man, Armin, maybe can go back to that part. So like they even use it against us Iranians, where they're like Haydar Haydar while they're like shooting us Iranians as well.
Yeah, so let's go back here a little bit.
اینا همینن، اخلاق مداریشون، عدلشون، محبتشون، مردمداری، همشون همینه دیگه. دارن نشون میدن و دیگه چه جوری بگن ما جانیم.
Yeah, by the way, Goldie, oh, never mind. I'm not gonna.
هیدر میگن دختر.
So sometimes when they're referring to Jews, they're saying Khaybar, which is referred to the door that Ali took apart. But anyways, so there's Haydar and there's Khaybar. But let's continue.
مردمو تیر خلاص میزنن.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know. It all they're jihadi language terrorists.
It's all Durka anyways, as you mentioned. yeah, okay.
اسمش چی بذاریم ما؟
اگه هیدره بهش بگو ماسکت اون رو پوش صورتتو بکش پایین.
Oh, he's saying like they kill us while they shout Haydar Haydar, saying if you want to say Haydar Haydar, then why are you covering your face, right? So why are you covering your face when you're saying Haydar Haydar? Because Haydar is like, oh my God, look at us, we're so brave. He's saying you're shouting Haydar while you're covering your face.
اگه هیدره بهش بگو ماسکت اون رو پوش صورتتو بکش پایین لباس.
Saying if it's Haydar Haydar, then remove your face covering.
پلنگی برات اسلحه دستته. این کارو تو بکن که میگی هیدر.
Like, at least do this if you're saying Haydar. So let me actually bring what Goldie was mentioning. Let me actually remove this, stop screen,
and then we'll go to 2C right after.
Okay. So Goldie's there's a song that it sounds like is in support of the Islamic Republic, but it's against it because it's using their own Haydar narrative to make a point. Hold on, so this is the point of this video is to show that the Islamic Republic, while saying Haydar and also crying for the death of Ali and Hussein 1400 years ago, they commit the most evil, brutal acts against the Iranian people while they're crying for the death of Hussein 1400 years ago.
So,
right? So this
basically, in a nutshell, the people who are crying about the death of 100 Arab warlords 1400 years ago are the same ones who are currently murdering Iranians. So they murder Iranians, just point blank, they murder them, no problem. But then they cry for a bunch of Arab warlords that died 1400 years ago.
Right, guys, people were correcting us saying Khaybar is something else, okay? That's something else. This is Haydar. Okay, so let's watch this.
داغ تو زوده بابا تو امشب میشه مهمون مادر از ما بیشتر درد تو میدونه مادر امشب میشه مرهم زخم سر تو اشک سرخ چشمای گریون مادر بابا تو امشب میشه
crying. They're the ones that are murdering Iran.
Say that again.
I was just going to say these people that are crying, they're the ones that are murdering Iranians. You'll see in the video.
Yes, it will get to this.
سرخ چشمای گریون مادر بابا تو امشب میشه مهمون مادر از ما بیشتر درد تو میدونه مادر امشب میشه مرهم زخم سر تو اشک سرخ چشمای گریون مادر دنیا آماده صدق سر حیدر عالم خاک محضر غمبر حیدر دنیا آماده صدق سر حیدر عالم خاک محضر غمبر حیدر حیدر قربون دستای لرزونت بابا پر خون زلف پریشونت بابا اشکاتو پاک کن مگه زینب مرده قربون چشمای گریونت بابا قربون دستای لرزونت بابا پر خون زلف پریشونت بابا اشکاتو پاک کن مگه زینب مرده قربون چشمای گریونت بابا تو بیا آماده صدقه سر حیدر عالم خاکه محضر غمبر حیدر تو بیا آماده صدقه سر حیدر عالم خاکه محضر غمبر حیدر 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 حیدر.
Okay. 2C started, so that was actually perfect timing because 2C started. So we're gonna go to 2C now.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to 2C TV. This is your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C, and the IRGC threat around the world, especially in London, is escalating against the Iranian diaspora and, of course, anybody who is challenging their Islamic occupation. We're going to go through everything that we have. This is about what's been going on with me, our 2C TV family, and, of course, our friends in London who are fighting against the tyranny, the Islamic tyranny that took over Iran. We're going to get your reaction. There's also a couple of updates about what's happening in Iran and in the Middle East in terms of the Americans and, of course, the Islamic regime in Tehran. Let's start by talking about the main thing, which is the story that the Telegraph also reported. Now, you guys know that some of you guys who've been watching this channel for a long time, you know that I've been having my encounters with the Islamic regime. I've had kidnapping attempts, death threats, random CDs, the actual CDs they sent to my house, even though nobody knows how to play CDs anymore because we don't really have a drive. But things have been getting worse. So they're coming for all of us. Myself, Niak, Lily, many others. But these guys continue the fight anyway. These are the actual political activists who continue to organize rallies. We're going to talk about Niak first. We're going to show you guys the evidence of the death threats and the reaction to it. And of course, we're going to get your reaction as well. Before we start, if you want to support the channel and want to get more out of this, you can now join 2C TV Plus for only £1 on our 7-day trial. The direct link is in the description under the video, and also there will be a pinned comment later on. So let's talk about Niak first. Niak Orbani, 2C TV reporter and also political activist, anti-regime campaigner, I would say in Iran, started to organize these rallies. As you've seen, last week I went there, I made a speech. This Sunday, which was yesterday, I was supposed to go. Unfortunately, I couldn't go for obvious reasons, as you guys know. And this was their national march for a free Iran. Hours later, after he organized the first one, he started receiving anonymous phone calls from, obviously, the Iranian regime, speaking Persian, telling him that they know where he lives and they will kill him. Now, we are kind of used to this sort of stuff as people who've been dealing with the Islamic occupation, but they are becoming more proactive. London is a hub for the IRGC. The IRGC have a headquarters in London, in case you don't know. Unlike other countries, in Canada and in the UK, they have massive bases. In London, of course, in central London, in Maidavale, we have the IRGC base, and these guys have been causing a lot of problems for a lot of people. Having said that, when they said, we will find you and we will kill you, watch your back, well, Niak had to take action. 2 weeks ago, we also had Bahar, who's another Iranian dissident, started receiving death threats from jihadis. Initially on Instagram, we get that all the time, but also phone calls, saying, I'm a jihadist of Islam. And then they started messaging more. This is what she got. Oi. Who starts a sentence with oi? What is this? You know what we do with non-believers, right? Pick one of these for the news. A Jew got torched along with his gaff. 2, an Iranian bird's body turned up in a suitcase in Times. I think they mean the Thames, not Times, but yeah. But what do you expect from these guys? But the couples are still looking for. I mean, this is just weird stuff. She also got, according to the Holy Quran, you infidels should be killed so that people will rush towards God and Islam. I am a jihadist of Islam, and I will soon send you to hell so that God will be pleased with me and the Prophet of Islam will be proud of me. The earth must be cleansed of you Jews. And this is the duty of every Muslim. And then this escalation. Home address, date of birth, name, everything they found, right? Obviously, we had to redact that. See, it wasn't hard to find you, the IRGC says. Your address and face have been shared in all Islamic groups. Our brothers will eagerly come to sever your head from your body with Allah's decree. Wow, Allah is very violent, as usual. Whenever we find you. Even if you go to prison, we won't let you be safe there. May Allah be pleased and content with us through your death. Just wait for the brothers to come and sort you out, mate, inshallah. May Allah give us a place next to Prophet Muhammad in heaven. Interesting. I don't know how they know where Momo is. Apparently he's in heaven. Now, following these messages, the house was vandalized. This is what we're dealing with now. Saying you are a kafir, as in infidel, and Zionist. There's a combination of essentially Arabic alphabets and Latin alphabets, English basically. So this is fun, right? No support from the local authorities, from the police, law enforcement, nothing, because there's not enough resources to keep people safe in the UK, especially in London. Lily, another of our friends and colleagues, big campaigner, big freedom fighter. Now, she moved to the UK in 2000. She had to escape. She was talking to the Telegraph about this. Of course, the Telegraph also reported this, saying that she had received a number of warnings from the supporters of the Islamic regime about assassinating her, explaining that the safety precautions that she has to take in England. She says, nobody knows where I live. I don't know where she lives. And not even my friends. I don't go to restaurants. I don't go to parties. I don't have a social life. This is the price we pay for fighting an evil dictator. Islamist allies of the IRGC are being instructed to take us out. They believe that much like protesters in Iran, we deserve to be killed without trial because we are perceived to be the enemies of Allah. It is getting tough, but you can't give up. You can't surrender. Daniel, or Danny as we call him, also started receiving anonymous phone calls. One of them said, Daniel said that Khamenei and Abbas Araghchi, who's the foreign minister in the Islamic Republic, directly spoke about foreign activists on their state television and threatened them. Now, unknown numbers are calling me at every moment of the day. Now, Danny's face was also shown on the Iranian state TV a while ago. They are basically keeping an eye on every single person. They have a lot of sleeper cells here. They've got a lot of people who've been protected by the British state. It's not even the British government. You can't blame Keir Starmer. You can't blame the Labour Party. You can't even blame the Tories. This is the British state. This is the policy, status quo, since 1979, when the Brits helped MI6 with the help of the French and Jimmy Carter. helped the Islamic occupiers take control of Iran, the policy has been the same. Publicly, we're not really friends with the Iranian regime, with Iran as we know it. That's what the Brits would say. But in reality, there is an IRGC headquarters in London. They refuse to designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization. There's been a lot of links between the British state and Ali Khamenei's regime. This becomes a problem because these guys are globalists. The globalists will not let you breathe. They don't look after the British citizens, let alone the Iranian dissidents. What do you expect? The Iranians can't really expect the British state to keep them safe when they don't even care about the British subjects. Meanwhile, the same Iranians, the same names that I showed you, and people like myself and many others who are in the UK, who are across the Western world, when they are organizing their rallies against the Islamic Republic in London, for example, not only, as you have seen, as we've shown you repeatedly, after the march, after the rally, they clean up the streets to make sure there's no mess left, unlike Greta Thunberg's friends. But also, the British national anthem is always played. This is yesterday. This is the level of respect. So this is the difference between the Iranians who have integrated, who are paying their taxes, who contribute to the economy. They act and behave on a daily basis like Brits. Even when they have their rallies and protests, they still respect the country that are hosting them. They play the national anthem of the country. Same thing happens in Canada, same thing happens in the US, everywhere. But of course, the state is not protecting them. Meanwhile, the situation is getting worse, but we are in the end game now. The Islamic Republic are sending mixed signals, which is absolutely hilarious, by the way. This is a massive billboard in central Tehran right now, threatening the USS Abraham Lincoln with ballistic missiles. Now, while they are doing this, they are also behind the scenes, through back channeling, begging the Americans to keep them safe. You see the problems. They are begging President Trump not to attack. You can't make this stuff up. And we also had a member of parliament in Iran, a fake parliament, obviously, plastic parliament, who warned Washington, if Trump attacks Iran, he will be America's last president. This defeat will mark America's end. But Rubio and Hexeth are naive enough to make such a mistake. I can't take them seriously. But let's just watch this with English subtitles.
درگیری این دفعه دیگه چیزی به نام حوزه خلیج فارس ما نداریم. هر کجا پایگاه آمریکایی باشه قطعاً ویران خواهد شد. و بعد وقت با شکست خورده از منطقه فرار کنن، این دیگه به نظر من پایان همه چیز آمریکا هم هست. ولی من فکر میکنم امریکایی‌ها یا این آقای روبیو و اون هکست وزیر دفاعشون این حماقت رو داشته باشن. نمیدونم اگه این باشه واقعا باید برای مردم آمریکا متاسف شد. ایران هم آماده است که اون انتقام جنگ 12 روزه و این فضاحت‌ها رو بگیره. لذا از جنبه نظامی من مطمئنم که اگه این اتفاق بیفته به نفع ما میشه. اگر ترامپ تو این ماجرا وارد بشه، من مطمئنم آخر رئیس جمهور آمریکاست. اینو این بارها گفتم. این پیش بینی‌ها معمولاً درست در اومده دیگه. 1,648,000 کیلومتر در سوپر استراتژیکی ترین نقطه جهان، 90 میلیون جمعیت، چند میلیون نیروی نظامی و در واقع بسیجی و اینها، به علاوه اینکه متحدین داریم مثل روسیه و چین که اونا هم میدونن که ماجرا چیه، ما میدونیم، اونا میدونن. و بعد
They're gonna
اون
throw you under the bus, you
کشیده‌ای که
idiot.
لازمه وقت بعد زده بشه. این موازی که من از ترامپ دیدم احساس کردم که فهمیده که بازی خورده، چون یکی دوباره اومد تشکر کرد و عذرخواهی کرد، یعنی گفتش که نه من راضی هستم و اینجور قضایا با مواضع قبلش نمیخوند. فهمیدم که بازی رو خورده.
I can't take them seriously. I try, but I can't. Anyway, so we just got breaking news that Iran's central bank is now printing 2 quadrillion reals, to prop up all the banks that have now gone basically bankrupt, insolvent. And there is an emergency aid. They don't have any money left for the record, but they are printing money like there's no tomorrow. They are panicking. So they thought it's a good idea to go full Keynesian. They've gone full Keynesian. Imagine thinking printing money is going to be fixing their problems. Now, the Islamic Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, has now named 3 senior clerics as potential successors in the event of his death. Well, at least I respect that Ali has accepted that he's not going to last long. Fair enough. I'm proud of you. Always be proactive. Always have a backup plan. Plan B, plan C, plan D. And in your case, plan 0. But will this get anywhere? Considering that the mixed signals is brilliant. On the one hand, threatening the president of the United States, saying he will be the last president of America. On the other hand, we now have confirmation that the Iranian regime, the Islamic regime in Iran, the foreign minister's spokesperson, Ismail Baghai, is now begging President Trump not to attack Iran. He literally said, while the IRGC obviously are threatening with hypersonic missiles, he's now said that we are open to diplomacy and we never wanted war and we are ready to talk. Now, President Trump and the White House, they have responded to this. 2 words, and I quote the statement from the White House: unconditional surrender. They said the message is clear from the White House: unconditional surrender. You can't, I don't know if they think they are also trying to do their Trump confused tactic sort of thing, because that's what President Trump is good at, confusing everybody. On the one hand, he says one thing, the next day he does the exact opposite. I wonder if the Islamic Republic are thinking they are doing that. On the one hand, saying we're gonna basically end America somehow. On the other hand, we're ready to talk. I mean, sure, you can try, but will it get anywhere? PC says, great tie, Maya, stay safe. Thank you very much, PC. This is the last time I wore this was at the United Kingdom rally, I think. Maya, you're always welcome to crash at my place in Jerusalem. We can get drunk and have awesome barbecues. I appreciate that. I do have to now officially tell you guys and declare what we have to do. Because of our security issues, whether the Islamic Republic ends or not, both case scenarios, doesn't really matter, especially if they fall. We are no longer safe in the United Kingdom. We will be moving. We have to go somewhere safe. I used to live in Covent Garden in central London. They found my address. I had to move. We had to move to a gated community. Technically, nobody knows where we live. But now they know it's not safe anywhere. We will have to go somewhere that we feel safe, because it's not about me. I have a family now. I have a wife. We're going to have kids. I have to keep my loved ones safe. Fortunately, the nature of our business as a global news channel, we can work anywhere. We can operate from anywhere. But right now, the safety of my family is a priority. Same applies to a lot of other people that I've mentioned. Some people might know, those who are familiar with this channel, that where our backup location is going to be, where we've been talking about where we're going to be moving to. It's not Israel, don't worry. And we are making the plans, because enough is enough. If the British state, again, it's nothing to do with the government, it's the British state. If they can't even keep the British natives safe, what do we expect? You can't negotiate with self-destructive nutters in Europe. Europe is dead. Get out of Europe if you can. Or at best, at least stay away from cities. It's not safe. Lift and prayers for you, family, and all Iranians. Keep up the fantastic work, Maya. Thank you so much. To see, come to Hawaii, we protect. That's too far. It's slightly too great weather, but it's too far. There are other places with good weather. That's too far. Video game controller looks full on in between the words. Try again. Oh, that's a super sticker. I just read a super sticker. You guys, when you send super stickers, it doesn't come as a emoji. It comes as a text. Thank you. Original Bible. And there's a lot of speculations now. Someone said Poland safe. Yeah, but I'm not. The thing is, wherever you go, I always believe in you have to fully integrate and learn language. I don't think I can. I'm at an age where I don't really can learn a new language like Polish. Too much effort. I don't want to be a burden on Poland either. The English-speaking world obviously is a safe place, but not everywhere. For example, not Canada, unfortunately. Someone said, come to New York. We would love to have you. I can't move from London to New York. It's like going from Baghdad to Beirut. Like it's just a different version of chaos. It's like moving away from somewhere that you could get stabbed, somewhere you could get shot. You know, no. I wonder if you guys can guess where we're going, because the old school people know. I've mentioned this about a year ago when we were thinking about, obviously, what we might have to do as a backup plan. Nothing is confirmed yet. This is still a backup plan, obviously. If the articles are true that Steve Witkoff is a Qatari puppet and is responsible for delaying the strikes, yeah, so there are allegations about the Qatar thing, but the second thing is, yes, true, that he and Jared Kushner opposed. They're the only ones who opposed the strikes, but they are outnumbered. Even J.D. Vance is now on the side of Marco Rubio and the president and Pete Hegseth. So the main team of the government, they are united. It's just Kushner and the Witkoff that it doesn't really matter because they're not decision makers. I didn't go either yesterday, Maya. My son's not well. It was good, as I said, to see you in person briefly last week. Thank you. Yeah, I hope your son feels better now. Look after yourself and your family too, see. That's why I do not show my photo on Facebook or here. Yeah, stay safe. I don't know how many times. Get a bodyguard. We have security. They don't tend to be next to me, obviously, but they're always around. As the viewers happen to care a great deal, you must get a guard, not only for you, but for your family and friends. We have security, thank you. So very, very peaceful effing dolts. To see your famous face now, please get a guard. Yes, we have security, thank you. I have had the people threaten me on Facebook, Muslims. Of course, get used to it. This is the new Britain. Stay safe, everyone. Why can't the IRGC roam free? Why can? It's because it's the historic relationship between the British state and the Islamic Republic. So, and at this point, it's too late for them. They think it's too late. They are terrified of backlash. They are terrified of sleeper cells. So, it is our excuses. Even Canada designated the IRGC as a terrorist organization under Justin Trudeau, of all people. If a Muslim calls you an enemy of Allah, you're doing everything right, a little bit. There are well-entrenched Islamic forces in every country. I'm surprised that the tech superiority in keeping the blackout going. So most of the countries, most of the integration that you've seen in terms of infiltration in Europe primarily is Sunnis. Now they're a different type of problem. The Sunni side, obviously, the extreme side, you got the Al Qaeda types, ISIS guys, but they are against the IRGC. The problem with the IRGC infiltration of Canada and the UK and France is that they are Shia. So it's a very specific type of threat, which the Sunni sides mainly won't do the biddings of the IRGC, especially after the fall of the Islamic Republic. Now, the Muslim Brotherhood had a good relationship relatively with the IRGC, but that won't be the case after the fall of Khomeini. Good evening, dear Maya. Greetings from Croatia. Watching you every day. Thank you for all you're doing. Wishing you and your family and the Iranian nation freedom and victory. Thank you so much from Croatia. Love Croatia, but love Dubrovnik. It is tough to ignore these clowns. When I am in the States, I'm always strapped in the UK. Of course, you don't have that right. Stay safe. What? Strapped? What? I don't know. I probably didn't read this properly. But the thing is, as British citizens, people like myself, you would expect basic security from your state. And when that doesn't come, you have to take care of yourself and your family. Now, in America, for example, is a country that you have the entitlement to be safe. That is the major part of the primary goal of the state on a state level and also federal level. We don't have that right in the UK or in Europe, most of the Western Europe at least. Getting security, being protected by the state is a bit of a luck and lottery. So you're not entitled to it in that case, in that sense, compared to the American side. You die, basically. These people can't fly a chopper and want to end America. Yeah, have you seen the submarines? And you'll find yourself in place next to Muhammad and Allah in hell. Repent. True that. Oh, it is the same as high in Brazil. I strongly advise to be careful with anyone connected to Brazil. It may not be a Brazilian, but that one, no. So it's a UK thing. So we have a lot of the IRGC guys. So these guys are not educated people anyway. The IRGC guys who are basically, but like the Pakistani side, the radicals in the UK, they have this weird urge to speak like a version of a common British English, right? So oi is a big thing. I say oi after a few pints to my friend if I have to call them from the other side of the pub. Oi, come here. But they overuse it. The Islamic side, the IRGC guys, they say oi for no reason. So it's not the Brazilian thing. It's actually it's a very English thing that they just overuse for absolutely no reason. Every time they want to threaten you, oi, like, all right, calm down. The Islamists in Iran are obviously panicking based on what you are reporting, and maybe that's why Trump is waiting to scare these cowards. The wait is primarily the build-up. Again, the Iraq operation, which was bigger in terms of the quantity of equipment and personnel, that took months. But the quantity might be smaller now, but the quality of build-up, the military build-up, is bigger than 2003 and bigger than the Persian Gulf War, because you don't necessarily need that many, the actual individuals, the quantity of personnel and everything else, especially with Tomahawk missiles and everything else, if they decide to use, and all these the secret weapons that President Trump was talking about. So it's still going to take some time. Right now, they are doing the military exercise, the drills around just outside of Iran, around the Persian Gulf. The US Air Force are busy doing that and coordinating with the allies. So we'll see what happens there. US is 3.8 million square miles with a population of 380 million, an enormous, well-funded military and armed citizens. Good luck taking us down. It's not a country. The United States is an empire. I'm not really sure why these guys think you can't even take the whole of Iraq. The IRGC are part of they have a chunk of Iraq under their occupation. They can't even take the whole of Iraq, and they think they can bring down the American empire. Finish the fight, Trump. Ignore their lies. Oh, he's got proper intel from CIA. They don't care about these things. The IRGC is like a strange light shining on a chihuahua that casts a huge shadow on the wall behind it. All bark, no bite, and incredibly stupid. Big super chat, thank you very much, saying they shall put you out of the synagogues. Yeah, the time cometh. Oh, it's John 13. I thought you were actually saying those things. I was like, wait, why am I going to synagogues for? Yes, good message. TC, come to Hawaii. I'm not going to Hawaii, it's too far. Allah already put over 1 million goats on pre-order after Trump gives the order. Even Allah knows what's coming. Lot of goats. You're welcome to crash with me in South Carolina. Thank you so much, Jim. I need my beach, as you know. Come to red states in the US, no one would mess with you. Again, I can't really confirm the details of our plans yet, but some of you would be able to guess with our connections to a very obvious place, which is not Israel or Iran, obviously. I won't be safe in Iran, even after the revolution, because they will still be there. They will probably blow up every now and then for a long time. In Israel, English is considered an official language. Just saying. Good. Stay safe. Yeah, but I need cheeseburgers, and it's difficult to find cheeseburgers in Israel. Seriously, why can't I have cheeseburgers? Just let me mix dairy and meat. It's not the end of the world. Let me eat my cheeseburgers. There was like one place in Tel Aviv that you could find. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, stay safe, sir. Also, please help me understand the difference that you often draw between the British government and British state. The British government, or like any other government, is primarily in the West is the elected part. So in Britain, the United Kingdom, it's constitutional monarchy. So Parliament is technically supreme. So you elect the MPs, your local representatives, then they form a government. People think that you elect governments in the UK. You don't elect governments, you don't elect prime ministers. You elect MPs, and then in the House of Commons, they sit and they count how many they have. And then the party that have the most majority of the members, then they form a government, they call the shots, and then they pick someone from their party to be leader and prime minister. Then that prime minister will elect other MPs to be their ministers. So the prime minister and ministers and these guys, they are the government. So they technically lead and head the government department. So the Treasury, which obviously it's called the HMRC side, and you got the Foreign Office side, you've got Home Office and everything else. Then you got the British state. So in the UK, as opposed to the US, so in the US, when a president is new, they come in and wipe out the whole of the White House, basically. They can do that. Get rid of all the bureaucrats, bring in your own people. In the UK, you don't do that. You can't do that. The state remains fixed. The bureaucrats, civil servants are fixed. You can't touch them. If you fire them, you can fire them, right? You have to have a good excuse to fire them, but you can't hire your own people. Civil service will hire the next person, who'll be just like the first one. So in America, the concept of deep state is basically a shadowy state. So they are the people who are not supposed to have powers. So they are the people who would infiltrate FBI or CIA or Pentagon, and then they call the shots behind the scenes. They infiltrate. That's the deep state in America. It's not official. In the UK, the deep state is the state. The deep state is basically the fixed structure of the state. The people who call the shots are the palace and the Foreign Office. So, and the palace is not necessarily the king. It's the people in the palace.
All right. So there's the update from 2C. Yeah, the death threats are real. And I don't know if you guys caught the part where Lily, I actually know, so I know Lily, I know all those people, and what Lily was saying about how like she has no social life, she doesn't go to restaurants, she doesn't go to parties, she doesn't go out. That's pretty much all of us. You know, Armin and myself included. We don't go out. We don't go to rallies, demonstrations, because we also have targets on our backs. And that's the unfortunate reality for anyone who speaks out against the regime and tries to raise awareness. Wouldn't you agree, Armin?
I moved 3 times. I had to change my address. I had the police involved twice, and I moved my location 3 times.
Yeah.
And I don't do any more speeches anymore in public events anymore.
Yeah. And like I've pretty much stopped everything as well. I used to go to a lot of events. I used to do a lot of speeches, but I've pretty much stopped, especially since ARMIN, Iran Revolution Live, has been very effective in raising awareness, and it's been very effective in countering the Islamic regime propaganda. So yeah, both of us have targets on our backs, and yeah, I don't go out. No one knows where I live, and yeah, I'm in a new location as well. Been in a new location for a while. Yeah, welcome to being Iranian.
People are offering us to stay with them. Look at BT saying, Armin, you can always come here and see me. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you, BT June.
You guys are the best. But you know what? It's okay because we have you guys, right? So, we're still, able to communicate with the world, and we're able to share information. And yeah, will we be able? Oh, so someone's asking, will we be able to go out after the IRGC? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still going to be like we'll still have to be careful because there's going to be like terrorist sleeper cells everywhere. But yeah, it'll be much safer when the regime is gone.
Yep.
So
exactly.
There you go. All right. Armin, we finished translating that video.
Yeah. I by the way, no Haydar, I think Sohail just sent me a video that shows from January 9th where I haven't watched this video by claiming that people are shouting Allah Akbar and Haydar in Tehran while shooting at people. So
yeah.
So this was, that you actually shared this account earlier.
Yeah.
Goldie,
It's a good one.
Okay, so I haven't seen this one myself, so let me see what this is about. Look, they're shooting. These bastards are shooting. Oh, they're saying Allahu Akbar while shooting. They're saying Allahu Akbar Khamenei Rahbar, which means Allahu Akbar Khamenei is the leader. Okay, so the guy shouting, is this how you want to do a revolution? So he's basically trying to insult the protesters, saying that, is this how you want to do a revolution? Oh, you saw at the end, Haydar, you could hear it. So, and also the caption also says, شلیک به مردم با کلت کمری با فریاد الله اکبر و حیدر تهران 19. So shooting at people with like a handgun. Kalt Kamari is like a handgun while shouting Allahu Akbar and Haydar in Tehran January 9. That was a new video.
Wow.
Yeah. That just came out.
Okay. I want to go to this. This is a news report by Fox News. This came out last night, so I wanted to watch this. Can't skip it.
All right, now to this. The Iranian regime is escalating threats against the U.S., saying any attack will be considered an, quote, all-out war.
Let's bring in Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor. So great to see you this morning. Thank you for joining us. So these protests, which have been pretty violently put down, how are these protests, do you think, different from the previous ones we've seen?
Well, Charlie, good to be with you guys from the snow globe that is Philadelphia this morning. They're different in a couple of different ways. For starters, these aren't caused by a single event. So not like the stolen election in 2009. the murder of Mahsa Amini in 2021 as sort of a catalyst. These are being caused by the systemic economic failure that is taking place in Iran. They can't prop up their currency to keep any kind of value in it. So if you sell something, a quart of milk for $2 today, that $2 is worth $1.50 tomorrow. You're losing money on every transaction. The regime can't fix that. So they've murdered some number of thousands of people. The totals are horrifying, but they can't oppress their way out of this because the protests will come back. So
Right.
that's the key thing that's different this time.
Right. And Victoria, we can show a map of the locations of U.S. Navy assets in the Middle East. It's obviously growing. President Trump called it an armada in comments. Do you think we're headed for a strike in Iran?
Well, he's certainly going to keep all of his options on the table. That's the key thing, Griff, is that the president, is moving these assets back in. And in the 12-day war last June, the Iranians were shown to be completely powerless against the Americans. So they can make all the threats they want, and the Israelis, by the way. And they're threatening this morning to close down the Strait of Hormuz, that little choke point at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, where about a quarter of the world's oil goes through every day. They can do that, but that's suicide for them economically. It goes back to that same problem.
Indeed.
So really quickly, we know that the president eliminated the ability for Iran to use that nuclear weapon when they did Operation Midnight Hammer. A lot of people looking at what's happening here in the United States, our cities in distress. They want to know why does this matter to us? Why should we get involved? Really quickly, Victoria, what would be your answer?
My answer would be, Rachel, precisely that. The Iranians want to threaten the United States with a nuclear weapon. That's the president's bottom line, not regime change, a nuclear weapon and a theocratic power. So that's something we have to keep an eye on because it threatens us directly at home.
Thank you so much, Victoria Coates. Look forward to having you back when we have more time. Thank you. More Fox and Friends.
So there was that. And then, Armin, look at this. Have you seen the video of like the pro-Palestinian jihadis attacking Iranians?
No. Oh my God. Can you send that to me?
Yeah, it's gone viral.
I just retweeted. Oh,
well,
okay.
it's pinned to the top of my X profile, but I'll share it with you as well. I'll just send to your WhatsApp. So
thank you.
I mean, you and I, and of course all the Iranians here, we already know that Palestinians are the enemy of Iranians because they're part of the Islamic regime, right? So Palestinians are funded by the Islamic regime. Hamas is funded by the Islamic regime. And so Palestinians don't like us Iranians. It's also why all these Islamists and jihadis are attacking Iranians. I'm going to get to another one as well. But the reason that they're denying what's happening in Iran, the reason that they're calling us, like Mossad or whatever, is because they're funded by the Islamic regime. So here you can see a bunch of like these, I call them Allahu Akbar savages. And they start like they want to attack the Iranians. And guys, we've shown you like the Iranian demonstrators are all peaceful. And the Palestinians don't like this, and so they almost attack the Iranians, and the Swedish police, I guess, stopped them. But here you go. You see, he even had the regime flag. Did you see that? He had the Islamic regime flag. That's the terrorist flag of the Islamic Republic, right? The Allahu Akbar crab flag. There you go. So if you guys were ever wondering, yeah, the Palestinians hate us. They hate the fact that we are freeing Iran because their entire terrorist jihadi movement is funded by the stolen money of Iranian people. So there they are. They're going after Iranian demonstrators. Apparently, this happened in a whole bunch of different cities too. I'm going to see if I can find more videos. But when I posted this on Instagram, I got a number of comments from Iranians saying that like this also happened in Manchester. It happened in like Germany somewhere. So the pro-Palestinians are coming out.
You know, guys in the chat, like, do you realize that they understand that if the Islamic Republic is all fallen, it's over for them? Like the whole resistance, what they refer to as resistance, is done. The Islamic Republic is the main funder of the so-called Palestinian cause. It's the main trainer. It's the main supporter. This is basically the entire operation of the whole Palestinian cause is going to be completely paralyzed, and it's over for them. So this is the main supporter. The Iranian people are fighting the main supporter of the so-called Palestinian, the terroristic Palestinian cause, and they're afraid. Yeah, exactly. Neil Bunny saying the scam is over once after this.
And look at this. It's not just what they're saying, or it's not just what they're doing in person. It's also what they're saying online. So like I don't know, this like random Arab dude named Bassam Haddad. Look at this. He's the founding director of Mideast and Islamic Studies program, George Mason University, executive director of Arab Studies Institute. So Americans pay attention. These people who come to your country and they set up like Islamic studies, I'm telling you, they're all savages. So look at what this person wrote. So he did like this, I don't know, whole long like garbage non-apology or something, but he's being ratioed to hell. But this is like the main part. So this is what he writes. He says, I've recently been denounced for posting what is clearly a satirical critique of Laura Loomer's incessant propaganda advocating for war in on the Middle East. In keeping with my satirical style, on January 24, I wrote, according to Laura Loomer and Shah, so of course they're going after King Reza Pahlavi, right? Because these Islamists and jihadis, they don't like our leader because they're threatened by him, right? So this like evil, like disgusting savage, he wrote, 16.4 billion Iranian protesters have been killed in the first 27 minutes of the protests against the regime. So, and I responded to him and I said, apology not accepted, you filthy 7th century savage. I suggest you keep Iran out of your terrorist mouth. You and your garbage satire are going straight to hell. Now, if you look at this guy's profile, okay, not only is he like, Islamic, first of all, I don't even know why a country like America needs Islamic studies, right? Like there's like what, 56 Muslim countries in the world. You want to learn about Islamic studies, go to like a Muslim country, right? Go to a Muslim country. But aside from the fact that, he teaches Islamic studies at George Mason University, he's also like, he posts all of the, anti-America, like pro-jihad, like, all like the nonsense, right? Like anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, garbage nonsense. So, he's all about spreading like, Islamic jihad in the United States. But when it comes to Iranians, right, when it comes to the Iranian people, right, he jokes about us. He jokes about that. He jokes about the horrific massacre. And he made this like very, very disgusting comment. So guys, like these people are savages. They're also very, very racist. They're very like anti-Iranian racist. They just hate the fact that we're fighting against their jihad. But what's interesting is that now Nufti, this is the good lobby group, right? This is the one that we trust. So Nufti has sent a formal letter of complaint to George Mason University regarding the remarks by Professor Bassam Haddad that mock the deaths of Iranian protesters. This behavior is unacceptable, and we expect the university to address this issue promptly. So Americans, if you guys are, offended or upset by this, you guys should also reach out as well to George Mason University and let them know exactly what you think about this terrorist who's teaching, teaching Islamic studies in universities, right? And then there's another one, Mehdi Hassan, of course. Mehdi Hassan is also mocking. So let me bring this one up. So, you know how Iranians, they're writing. I think you actually showed the video, Armin, where an Iranian person is writing, Trump, send help or something. Trump, please send help. Do you have that video?
Yep. Oh, I have to go find it.
Okay, that's fine. But we've shared it before. So anyway, so what like these like disgusting like woke lefties and like the Islamists have done is they took that photo and they changed the word. Do you have it?
Oh, give me a few seconds. Sorry.
Okay, no, you don't need to find it. You don't need to find it because we've already shown it before. But what they've done is they've taken that video and they've like just they've edited it so that it's Ayatollah, please send help to America, right? And then seen tonight in Minnesota. So again, like all these like jihadis and like lefties and communists and anti-Americans are making fun of the Iranian people. And then Mehdi Hassan is actually mocking this as well. He's like, don't know whether to laugh or cry. So, and I tweeted here, I was like, Mehdi Hassan, the Muslim Nazi savage, is now sharing jokes made at the expense of the Iranian people. These 7th century Muslim Nazi savages disgust me. So there you go. There's a lot of anti-Iranian racism out there by all these like, commies. And Islamists and savages. So
I have the video if you want.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Why don't you play the video?
Okay, so that was the Mehdi Hassan one is the fake one. Here's the real one.
Yeah.
Actually. By the way, Goldie, I have a video of the regime propaganda showing that they destroyed the Abraham Lincoln with a video AI. Can I, like? Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna mention that.
Okay, guys. So this is the regime's fantasy. By the way, while you're watching this, keep in mind that the regime had a practice on trying to sync a mock-up version of the strike group, and they couldn't even sync the made-up version that they put out for practice. They couldn't even sync that. So in reality, and it actually continued floating, the one that they actually wanted to sync just for practice. But this is what they have in AI. This is their fantasy. That's the USS Abraham Lincoln. So this is regime propaganda. Watch this.
Another drone incoming. All stations prepare for secondary impact. The carrier splitting. Break it apart. Bridge to fleet. Lincoln's critical. Escorts are burning. We need immediate support and medevac.
Yeah, that's it. And that's their dream.
So you know what? It's like it's so messed up. Can you play that one more time?
Yep. Okay.
Major fire midship. Drone. Another drone incoming. stations. Prepare for secondary impact. The carrier's splitting. Break it apart. Bridge to fleet. Lincoln's critical. Escorts are burning. We need immediate support and medevac.
Sure, buddy. Sure.
Honestly, the only thing the regime is good at is murdering unarmed, innocent Iranians, right? That's the only thing that they're good at. Everything else, it's so embarrassing. So embarrassing, right? Like it's just, oh my gosh. And then do you guys remember like the loud noises video? Armin, I sent it to you. Do you want to play that? So they make, I just sent the link to you on WhatsApp. So guys, like they make like these like, you know, weird AI videos pretending like they're attacking Americans. And then meanwhile, they, you know, put this on TV. And I think you guys know what we're going to play here. Do you want to play it once and then go back and translate?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do that. Okay.
پرنده می یعنی چی؟ یعنی زمانی که پرواز میکنه اونها رو رنده میکنه. آره اینجاست. یا حسین.
صدای موتور اذیتتون کرد؟ بلند بود؟ این در حد یک بازی بود که فقط میخواستیم صدای موتور رو بشنوید. استرس گرفتید؟ گوشتون رو گرفتید؟ ما اینجاییم، بلدیم، مواظبتونیم، نمیذاریم شما آسیبی ببینید. اون جایی که ساعت 3:30 صبح به کشورم، به پاره تنم، به خاکم هجوم آوردن. ساعت 3:30 حمله صورت گرفت. ساعت 5 صبح یک اسکادران بیش از 100 تایی همین شاهد 136 به سمت رژیم. شالوم. انخم میوت حقوق علیک. انخم میوت علیک حقوق.
Wow, I'm cringing so hard. My God, the cringe is unbearable.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have a bunch of 7th century savages that are, you know, in charge.
I still don't understand the Mexican music. Why did they go into that? Somebody explain that to me.
I don't know.
Okay. Should I translate it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, this is regime propaganda trying to show that look at how powerful we are. So they're showing up their drones and they're trying to make it seem like because it's very loud, it's very, very powerful as well, which is weird because based on what our understanding, the more quiet a drone is, the better it is, the deadlier it is. You don't want people to know that it's coming. So, but he's selling the loudness of it as a way to suggest that it's very deadly. Right?
And he's also covering his face because he doesn't want to be identified.
Yes.
Right? Because he's scared of, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So, guys, yeah, that's a good point. Like he's trying to act like, oh my God, look at us, we're so tough, we're gonna kill you. But he's hiding. He's wearing a mask and sunglasses inside because they don't want to be identified because he's afraid of the Iranian people. He's afraid of the Iranian people. He doesn't want to be identified as being pro-regime. Very tough guy. Can't even show his face. Okay. Can't even show his face in the, you know, under the rule of the Islamic Republic. Like this is not a regime supporter in the UK. This is not like a regime supporter in the United States. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen? This is a regime supporter in Iran under the rule of Islamic Republic, and he's still afraid to be identified. And they're gonna act so brave. Okay, buddy. All right, so let's watch this.
پرنده می یعنی چی؟ یعنی زمانی که پرواز میکنه اونها رو رنده میکنه.
So he's saying parrande, not parande, parrande. You know, you say, do you know what the parrande means? Like it's basically a frying shredder. Do you know why we're calling it a frying shredder? Because when it's flying, it will shred them. It will shred our enemies.
آره اینجاست. یا حسین.
You say somebody said Ya Hussein, like, oh my God, oh Hussein, oh Hussein. Hussein is a third
Hussein.
imam of Ya Hussein. So guys, like Shias, instead of saying oh my God, because they worship Hussein more than they worship God, they say like oh my Hussein, like it's like oh my Hussein, like something like that.
And then they're saying mashallah, which is praise Allah, mashallah, praise Allah, praise Allah, with the
Praise Allah, like they're impressed. Yeah, very loud noises, guys. Guys, by the way, be careful with your lawnmowers because apparently loud noises means that they're deadly. So stay away from your lawnmower. Look how these two are hugging, like they're like, oh my God, help me, save me. They're hugging each other, like, oh no. This guy is so funny. He's like, look, they're all like, I'm very tough. Like the guy behind him is like trying to get protection, but this guy is like, look, look at how he's putting his chest out. Like, look, I'm not afraid. I'm gonna stand here. I'm gonna be
Armin,
very tough man.
Armin, someone's asking, how come people are not laughing? How come people in the audience are not laughing?
because they're idiots. These are regime supporters.
Yeah, they're all part of the regime. That's why they're not laughing. Yeah, they're all part of the regime.
But this guy, you know, I think we're all told to act very scared and impressed. But I think this guy was like, you know what? This is going to make me look so unmanly. So I'm going to actually come and stand here like I'm not scared. But everybody else could act scared. So you think the loud noises of the engines, did that bother you? Was it very loud? That's what you said.
این در حد یک بازی بود که فقط می‌خواستیم صدای موتور رو بشنوید.
So he's like, this was basically like a child's play so that you could only just hear the voice. So he's saying, like, imagine if the voice is bothering you that much, imagine what the drone could do, like if we went full level. This guy is also showing victory sound. He was very impressed by the sounds.
استرس گرفتید گوشتون رو گرفتید.
He's like, did it stress you out? Were you holding your ears? Oh my God, so impressed.
ما اینجاییم بلدیم مواظب.
We are here. We know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We're going to protect you.
نمیذاریم شما آسیبی ببینید.
We won't let anyone harm you. By the way, guys, he's directing it at regime supporters, not the entire nation, right?
These are the same ones that are murdering Iranians.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. These are the people in this crowd are people who would want the regime to kill more protesters. Yeah. America won't be able to hear us.
اونجایی که ساعت 3:30 صبح به کشورم.
It's like, you know, at 3:30 a.m. when you attacked my country. Like, guys, remember, we call these people 12-day nationalists. 12-day nationalists. This is a common saying in Iran because they become temporarily nationalists when they're under attack because they need support from more Iranian people, and they go back to becoming anti-nationalists when the war is over. So for 47 years, these are anti-nationalists. The chat that Goldie
I put it there so you can translate that after.
Yeah, so somebody put in the chat saying in hukumat as sazay guz khodesh ham miterse. So this guy is saying in Persian that this is a regime that is afraid of the sound of their own fart. Yes. Yeah, but let me explain this because this is very important. So during the 12-day war, the Islamic Republic really increased their so-called nationalist patriotic rhetoric because they were hoping that some people would support them, and they stopped becoming nationalists again after the 12-day war is over. So in Iran, we call these people 12-day patriots, 12, not like real patriots, but 12-day patriots. So he's also now acting like he's a patriot, and he's like, oh my God, if you attack my country, because remember, guys, these people care about Islam. They don't care about Iran, they care about Islam. So they pretend to be patriots when they need to. Like when you attack my country, when you attack my body, basically saying my country is my body. When they attack my land.
ساعت 3:30 حمله صورت گرفت. ساعت 5 صبح یک اسکادران بیش از 100 تایی همین شاهد 136 به سمت رژیم کرد.
So he's saying at 3:30 a.m. they attack my country. Sorry. They attack my country, and at 5 a.m. 100 of these Shahed, the specific Shahed drones went towards Israel, towards the enemy.
Shalom.
Shalom. He's speaking Hebrew now. We're closer to you. از آنچه فکر میکنید به شما نزدیکتر هستیم. We are closer to you than you think. Well, if you're closer to us than what we think, wouldn't we be hearing it? Given like I don't understand the threat. He's saying we're closer to you than you think. I'm pretty sure we would be hearing it by now, given that you guys are not very stealth. Your drones are you're admitting that your drones are not stealth based on the level of noise they're making. Yeah, guys, don't be afraid.
Yeah, so here's our response to the loud noises. Here's our response to the loud noises.
I don't know what we're yelling about! Loud noises!
That's pretty much the video.
Oh.
The ridiculousness. Armin, someone asked a question. Do you want to answer that?
Okay, when they do mass prayer, what happens if one farts? LOL. What will it do? A chain reaction of farts? When they fart, that basically makes their prayer not count, and so also their wuzu. They have to do it cancels two things. First, the prayer, and also their wuzu. The wuzu is the Islamic washing that you have to do before you pray. So you have to stop praying. You have to go change your underwear, I think, if it was like, and you also have to do the wuzu again, proper wuzu, like proper washing again, so that because you can only pray when you have wuzu on, which is like a spiritual washing with water. And then, I mean, it's not really washing. But then you have to do the wuzu and then do the prayer from the beginning.
We have a super chat question, and then I'm going to go to this report that I wanted to share with you all. So Ladai42 asks, when Tulsi said people released from prison injected with high potassium, I searched, there is medical treatment such as dialysis, insulin, and diuretic pills. So can we send medical help? I mean, that would be amazing. But the problem is the country is currently under martial law, and the Islamic regime is preventing people from getting access to medical help. So,
Goldie, I got a new information from Sohail regarding what I was saying. Apparently, they're in Shia Islam, regarding Friday prayers and farts. There is something very specific about that. This is okay. So in Shia Islam, in group prayers, and only the people who are at the very last row, their prayer is canceled if they're farting. So anybody else in the other rows, I'm saying, like he's saying, this is in Shia Islam. Anybody else in the other rows, their prayer will still count even if they're farting. So the people in the last row, their farts will cancel their prayer. This is apparently Shia Islamic teaching.
Wow.
Yes.
Very, very, very important to know. Oh my God.
Very specific.
So ridiculous.
Okay.
Guys,
I'm not kidding, by the way.
No, he's not. I wanted to share this report, but Armin, wait, is your discussion group starting soon?
Yes. I need to go now. I'm going to post the link, guys, in the chat. In 5 minutes, I'm going to go to our discussion group. The link is in the chat. So you could come there, and if you have any questions about Islam, about the revolution in Iran, about geopolitics right now in the Middle East, you could come and join our discussion group. And you could come. You don't have to open your camera if you don't want to. You don't even have to open your microphone if you just want to listen in. But if you have any questions, you could come there and ask me. I'm going to be there. Okay.
Thank you, Armin.
See you
Yeah,
soon.
make sure you put the links in the chat.
Okay, I will do it.
Okay.
All right, guys. See you soon.
See you soon. All right, so there you go. Again, like, guys, you have no idea how ridiculous the Islamic regime is. Like, we all know that they're just, inbred savages, but unfortunately, the one thing they are good at is slaughtering unarmed Iranians. So, yeah, it's insane. It's insane. They're incredibly wild. But I wanted to share this because this is actually a very good example of how the regime has stayed in power for so long. So I just want to read this report for you guys, so you get a better understanding of how the social media narrative was fixed. Sorry, guys, I actually need coffee, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna play a few songs, if that's okay, and then that will give me time to go refill my coffee cup because I just really, really need some coffee here. So, and I think I need maybe like 5 minutes to get my coffee ready, but I will play here. Actually, this is what I'll do. I'll do something even better. Okay. I want to play a speech by King Reza Pahlavi. This is from the NatCon. It's about 20 minutes long. This is from last year, but a lot of the things that he speaks about, this is relevant to what's happening right now in Western. This is like relevant to what's happening right now in Western countries, right? Let me bring it up here. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Okay. And I'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Western civilization, and the United States in particular, is at risk. I say this because this is exactly what happened to my country 45 years ago. Iran, you might say, was the testing grounds for what my late father called the unholy alliance of the red and the black, radical Marxism and radical Islamism. These two ideologies converged not to create, but to destroy. Indeed, to destroy the very notion of Iran. As the Ayatollah Khomeini himself, upon his return to Iran, said, "Patriots are of no use to us. We need Muslims. Islam is opposed to nationalism, because nationalism means we want a nation, nationhood, and not Islam." He quickly put his ideology into action. Our National Consultative Assembly became the Islamic Consultative Assembly. Our conventional National Army was shunned in favor of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The lion and sun symbol, which adorned our national flag for centuries, was replaced with Allahu Akbar. This united front of Marxists and Islamists took hold of my homeland, but was never satisfied with just taking over Iran, as these two ideologies do not believe in the concept, much less the border of a nation. Indeed, the Islamic Republic in Iran does not view itself as defending or limited to the borders of the Millat, or the Iranian nation, but rather the Ummat, or the Islamic Brotherhood. This expansion has gone far beyond the Middle East. Every day, we see graphic, distressing images of the consequences this regime's expansion has brought all the way to Europe and the West. From looting universities that were once the envy of the world, to supporting terrorist cells taking hold in Europe, to attempting to annihilate Israel, to expanding its criminal footprint to Latin America. This is not an accident. This is the Islamic Republic's political strategy. I invite you to read yesterday's statement and grave warning from the Director of National Intelligence on this matter. Sadly, this has all too often been ignored by many in the mainstream media and the fellow travelers who have come to dominate the commentariat class. Even this week, we are seeing this fifth column of the Islamic regime rear its ugly head in the media to try to convince you that the Islamic Republic's new president is a reformist. He is no such thing. He is nothing but a loyalist and lackey of this regime, and a proponent of its radical imperialist ideology. As he publicly wrote to the Hezbollah Secretary General, reiterating the regime's commitment to its proxies and their terror just this week. Indeed, the rise of radical Islam around the world can be traced directly back to the success of the Islamic Revolution in Iran and the establishment of this usurping anti-Iranian regime, backed by a minority and sustained through oppression and violence. The problem that began in Iran must be ended in Iran. But do not mistake this as a war between Iran and the West, nor a call for one. It is neither. This is not a conflict between nation states, but the war of a radical internationalist ideology on all nations, from the Iranian nation to your own. Indeed, it was the great and historic nation of Iran that was the first victim of this unholy alliance and of the resulting Islamic Republic. For 45 years, Iran has been taken captive, and my compatriots have been held hostage. They have been held hostage not by American sanctions or Western policies, but by radical Islamism. But Western political elites have indeed been accomplices, not only in my compatriots being held hostage, but accomplices in the crimes against your own citizens and nations. The chief accomplice of the Ayatollahs in their violent march to their global caliphate has been American political naivete about the true nature of this regime and European guilt and fears of Islamophobia. You do not have to fight the war against this poisonous and murderous ideology on your own, but you must be aware that it is waging war against you. I do have good news, because there is an army rising up against this poisonous ideology, this unholy alliance. That army is the Iranian people, the united Iranian people. Today, I come to you with a message from that rising army, that nation under captivity, those citizens taken hostage. The Islamic Republic may have taken hold of Iran, but it has never taken hold of Iranians' love of country. Today, Iran, inspired by our ancient history and our great civilization, is in the throes of a national revival, a national reawakening, a national renaissance. Iranians are proud, strong people with a proud, storied history, and are not willing to lose it to this unholy alliance. As my compatriots on the streets or at the tomb of Cyrus the Great chant, we will fight, we will die, we will reclaim Iran. But there are those who stand against them. There are global interests who would rather see the Islamic regime in Iran stay in power. They are making too much money, taking too much advantage, or perhaps it's simply too convenient. I know this because I've had powerful men, wealthy men, well-connected men tell me to stop the fight, to give up the effort, because they have grander global plans at work. Some want to keep the regime in place forever. Some want to light the country on fire so that out of its inevitable explosion, they can create statelets over whom they can play the role of benefactor, master, or God. But I will not stand for this, and I will not give up, for my compatriots deserve better. But do not be mistaken. This national reawakening is an Iranian project, not something to be cooked up in Washington, London, Berlin, or Paris. So why am I here with you today? I am here with a message from my compatriots, a message from the Iranian nation. My friends, the people of Iran would like to see you in the United States as a partner. Their message is that they seek not an entangling alliance, but an alliance of shared values and mutual interest, one which will serve Iran's true national interests and your own. Indeed, Iran is one of the few foreign policy questions where the United States can squarely align its interests with its values. While its dictator has attempted to brainwash Iran's youth with daily calls of death to America, my compatriots take to the streets and say, death to the Islamic Republic. And our enemy is right here. You lie when you say it's America. When the regime puts American flags on the ground, my compatriots refuse to step on it and walk around or jump over it. And this is not a new phenomenon. Iranians are the only people in the Middle East who poured onto the streets on September 11th, 2001 to mourn alongside you and to stand with you. They have continued to see both their compatriots and yours killed in aimless conflicts the Islamic Republic has brought about in the Middle East. And they are offering you a solution to free yourselves of these conflicts, rebalance the region, and solve the issues of the Middle East with a Middle Eastern solution. Because while the Islamic Republic seeks to spread its radical caliphate across the region, my compatriots denounce this imperialism and respond with shots of neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my life is only for Iran. They are tired of having their once radiant country run like a radical cause. They want a government that cares for its own and does not spend blood or treasure meddling in foreign wars as it has in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen. They want to return Iran to being a nation state, as we have been for more than 2 millennia. How can all of this happen? My friends, we are not seeking your intervention. We are not seeking your charity. I am not here to ask for your permission to get rid of the Islamic Republic, nor am I here to ask you to do it for us. The true Iran, the ancient Iran, and the soon-to-be free Iran doesn't seek your patronage. It seeks your partnership. It doesn't seek your funding. It seeks your friendship. because our interests are aligned in the most unique of ways. So, as opposed to the growing threat of this unholy alliance of the red and the black, what, my friends, might a partnership with the Iranian nation look like? What will it look like when the sovereignty over our ancient nation is returned to its true sovereign, the Iranian people? Iran will once again be the anchor of peace and stability in the Middle East, so you can finally bring your boys and girls home from faraway lands, but with dignity. Iran will once again be the center of prosperity in the region and a safe haven for foreign investment, not foreign aid. Iran will once again be an ally of the United States and a close partner of both Israel and the Arab states, and see the Abraham Accords hopefully grow to the Cyrus Accords. Iran will once again be the engine of progress, the defender of freedom and righteousness, not the spreader of terror and evil. You notice I say once again, because this is nothing new. This is the type of relations our two nations had before, particularly under the leadership of my father and President Nixon. Then, Iran sought peace and productive relations based on mutual interest with all nations. We were friends with America and its European allies, but we also maintained a balanced foreign policy by having stable, cordial relations with the USSR and China. We worked with both India and Pakistan. We had relations with both Israel and the Arab states of the Persian Gulf. Iran kept the peace in the Middle East, and we can help to do so again. But what is missing? What has prevented this until now has largely been an American policy on Iran, guided by intellectual naivete, based on the false premise that you can change the behavior of those who believe in such a radical ideology. But this is not a conflict between nation states, but against a radical, destructive ideology that cannot be negotiated with. This ideology cannot be reasoned with. It cannot be changed. There is no better deal to be made. It must be defeated, which is exactly what my compatriots have been fighting for. Perhaps some of this makes you wary. I know. It should. Some conversations like this in decades past have led your political leadership down the wrong road. In Afghanistan, when 70% of the country's post-Taliban tribal parliament wanted to restore the constitutional monarchy of Zahir Shah, because his people saw him, even in his old age, as a symbol and source of national unity, the American administration denied this national claim and this sovereign right. By forcing an inauthentic Western construct on a society with its own traditions, norms, and means of governance, the result was corruption, chaos, and collapse of the state. It was a devastating mistake, the consequence of which we continue to see today. This did not achieve security for America, nor was it successful in defending your values. Today, terrorist attacks are once again launched from Kandahar, and women are once again enslaved in Kabul. Because although America's aims may have been well-intentioned, the failure to listen to Afghans led it down a road to hell, paved with those very same good intentions. Only a few years later, in Iraq, Washington's political elite's arrogance and ignorance subjugated Iraqi national interests and sovereignty to small-minded sectarian interests that not only failed to unite the country, but further divided it. Citizens of Iraq were forced to see themselves not as Iraqis first and foremost, but as members of their religious sect, their ethnic group, or their clan, before seeking themselves as co-equal citizens of their nations. And let us not forget that all of this was brought about with military force. Let me make myself clear. That mistake should not be repeated in Iran, and I will not stand for those radical few who might advocate it, Iranians or Americans. But there is another path to this partnership between these two great nations, Iran and America. A path that rejects appeasement of the radical Islamists who have taken Iran hostage and are taking their war to you right here on American soil. A path that rejects war and the imposition of inorganic Western construct on a proud and ancient nation. This new path, this third way, requires maximum pressure on the Islamic Republic and maximum support for the Iranian people. Iranians are not seeking a handout. They do not want you to change their regime for them. They are fighting on the streets and cities of Iran for their right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and to reclaim their most treasured inheritance, their nation. What they want is for you to stop emboldening their captors and killers by sending them billions of dollars. And as opposed to bring about peace through strength, bringing about chaos through weakness and appeasement. My friends, you have a fight on your hands. But your fight is not with the nation of Iran. Your fight is with the radical ideology of the Islamic Republic and its defenders right here in Washington. But you are not alone in that fight, because it is the same fight Iranians are fighting every day on the streets of my country. In the fight between the Islamic Republic and Iran, my compatriots have chosen to step forward, to accept the call of history and fight to reclaim their nation. So have I, and I hope you will join us. For as Burke said, when bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fall one by one. Being with you just a few days after we celebrated America's Independence Day is quite fortuitous, because some 250 years ago, as he authored the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson did so inspired by the values of the Iranian king Cyrus. Iranians have never forgotten this connection, and today, as they fight not to create, but to liberate their nation, they are inspired by your struggle for freedom and love of country. Our two great nations share this special bond. Great civilizations, true nations, never remained subjugated. And we Iranians will reclaim our country. As this eventuality becomes a reality, be with us in this fight, not as our patrons, but as our partners, not as our founders, but as our friends. For our battle is won. Thank you.
There you go. So that's one of the speeches that His Royal Highness gave. That was back in July of 2024 at the National Conservative Convention in Washington, D.C. So as you can tell, King Reza Pahlavi, he's been doing this for a very, very long time. And so it's not just, by accident that, we support him. Like, he's literally dedicated his entire life to freeing Iran. So we're very grateful to have a leader like him. I think someone asked, can you explain why the Carter admin? You know what? I don't know either. President Carter, or I shouldn't even call him president because he's a traitor. Carter the traitor was fooled by the Russians into thinking that Khomeini was like this religious leader, and he was like the Muslim Gandhi or something. And so Carter thought that if Khomeini was brought in, then he would be better able to control Iran, maybe control the oil. And he thought that he would create like a religious belt that would sort of protect the rest of the region from communism. Because again, you have to remember, all this happened in the late 1970s. That's when the USSR was at the height of its power. That's when you had the Soviet Union, and they were trying to bring all these countries under the Iron Curtain. Iran was one of them. So Carter, the idiot, thought that Carter the idiot thought that Khomeini would be a better ally than the Shah. I don't know, like he's just an idiot, complete and total idiot. And I mean, Richard Nixon said it best, right? Richard Nixon, like Carter just didn't do his job. Carter was a idiotic peanut farmer, and all of his foreign policy decisions were really bad. I mean, I don't know, why did Carter sell the Panama Canal for like $1, right? He made a lot of terrible foreign policy decisions. I think the one for Iran was one of the worst, right? If not the worst, right? So it's been pretty bad there. So that's what I have to say about that. And I mean, if you want, I can replay Richard Nixon's video, because Richard Nixon spoke about it quite well. Like the Shah was the biggest ally of the United States in the Middle East, right? Here, let me pull up that video for you guys, because it's so crucial, right? It's so crucial. And and for anyone who wants the link to this video, I added the video to the Iran Revolution Live playlist, so you can go find it there. And then here's the other one. So this is the one from Richard Nixon, right? Where's that? This one's also in the playlist.
Let's look at the Shah for just a moment and look at him very fairly. He actually was a progressive in a number of ways. He instituted a land reform program. He instituted a literacy program. He sent thousands of students from Iran to the United States, and particularly the United States, to study, and in other countries as well. He liberated women. The irony was that those he liberated, the women and the students he sent abroad, they came back and joined the revolutionary forces. And the irony was that the Shah, being progressive, was attacked as being reactionary and conservative on these particular issues, whereas his opponents were the reactionaries. Putting it very bluntly and very simply, the Shah was trying to move Iran into the 20th century. His opponents, Khomeini et al., wanted to move Iran back into the Dark Ages, and that's what they've done. Now, there was some repression, true. Now there is total repression. There may not have been enough.
When he says that there was some repression, what he's referring to is the fact that the Shah of Iran had banned communism. And again, the reason that the Shah banned communism is because that was during the height of the Cold War, and the Soviet Union, right, the USSR, they were trying to bring Iran under the Iron Curtain, and that they had actually created all these various political parties, including the Tudeh Party. The Tudeh Party is like the communist party that was created in Moscow and funded by Moscow, right? So of course the Shah banned communism because they were like the country was in a Cold War with the Soviet Union. So that's the only like oppression, right? Because again, like think about it. Like President Nixon literally said in the same sentence, he said the Shah liberated women, he gave women the right to vote, right? So how can someone give women the right to vote but then still say that there's oppression, right? So the oppression he's referring to is banning communism, because communism was seen as a threat, and all those communists in Iran were funded by the Soviets because the Soviets were trying to bring Iran under the Iron Curtain. So that's the context there.
Land reform. Now there is none whatever. What I am simply suggesting is this, that when we look at the Shah, we have to look at him in terms of what he confronted. And he confronted revolutionary forces there that were not working, in my view, for what was best for Iran and certainly not best for ourselves. And most important, from the United States standpoint, instead of having a friend in Iran, we now have one that is not only not a friend, but one that considers us to be the great Satan.
Can you say that if you had stayed in office that you would not have allowed the Shah to fall?
I would not have, no. I would have been steadfast throughout. I would have made it very clear down through the bureaucracy that there was to be absolutely no contact with those that were trying to overthrow him. I would have had a very good study made of Khomeini's background and would have found that exactly what kind of person he was, because by studying his background, they could have known that he was going to do exactly what he's going to do. The man is a radical reactionary. He's not a progressive in any sense of the word. See, the choice basically was not between the Shah and somebody better. The choice was between him and somebody worse. And it's very easy for me to make that choice.
If you had been confronted with the worst case from that point of view, and the Shah had been overthrown and hostages taken, and you were president, would you have taken him into the United States?
Absolutely. I would have taken him into the United States. And as far as the hostages are concerned, I would have handled that a little differently too. I don't say this in criticism of President Carter, because he certainly went through a lot on the hostage situation. He believes it may have cost him the election. I don't think it did. I think the economic issues were the major ones. But be that as it may, it didn't help him. But as far as the hostage situation was concerned, American foreign policy can never be made hostage to hostages. That's why hostages are taken, for purposes of blackmail. And we mustn't let that happen. And for example, when President Carter was asked about the hostage situation, he went overboard in saying that our first and then only concern was the safety of the hostages. Now, that is a concern, but our major concern is what happens to Iran, what happens to the relations between the United States and Iran. And in this respect, I would never have said, as President Carter did, that I rule out the use of force in order to get the hostages back. All that did was to encourage those that had captured them and were holding them in captivity not to give them up. I remember President Eisenhower during our administration and the vice presidential days used to say on occasion that he had learned as a military commander that it's very important never to tell your enemy what you're going to do, because then he'll be ready for you. But he says it's just important never to tell him what you're not going to do, because then that will encourage him to do things he otherwise might not do. And in this case, that was a mistake, in my view, to do that. The other thing I would say is that with regard to the hostage rescue operation, that President Carter and the Pentagon, I assume they're the ones that joined in the decision, made a mistake and are not, again, following out an Eisenhower dictum. And that dictum is that when you make a play of that sort, you always assume the worst. And you cannot assume that your intelligence is going to be absolutely accurate. I have a very interesting reaction in that respect that Eisenhower had at the time of Lebanon in 1958. As everybody will recall, in 1958 in Lebanon, there was a crisis because the government there was under attack. There was a possibility the Soviet Union might intervene. And Eisenhower had to make a decision as to whether or not to send Marines in in order to establish peace. And I remember the briefing that occurred in the Oval Office, and Eisenhower heard Allen Dulles, the head of the CIA, and Foster Dulles, the Secretary of State, brief him and to recommend that we send in a Marine group in order to keep order. And when they gave their report, they indicated that they did not think there would be any intervention from the standpoint of the Russians, and then that it would be a peaceful operation. And Eisenhower sat back, and after they had given this report, he said, "Foster, let me ask you something. Let us assume our intelligence is wrong. Are you prepared to take the next step?" And Foster Dulles thought a long time. He said, "Well, Mr. President, I'm 90% sure that there will be no problem. But if there is, yes, we should be prepared to take the next step." The point of that anecdote is that Eisenhower would never have made the mistake of the Bay of Pigs. When the intelligence proved to be wrong, there wasn't the uprising that they had hoped at the time, and when it was necessary to have committed more air strength than had been planned, or at least not to cut back on what had been planned. In other words, in the hostage situation, rather than sending enough helicopters plus one, you should say send twice the number to be sure that if there were, as there turned out to be, mechanical or other difficulties, you'd be prepared to carry out the operation to a successful conclusion.
If you had still been in office, would you have taken the risk of the rescue mission?
Oh, yes. Oh, I think President Carter deserves high marks for taking that risk. I saw the Shah the last time in Mexico, at Cuernavaca, Mexico. He was then in the last phases of terminal cancer, although he would never admit it or talk about his own problems at all. But he was quite thin and quite pale. But his head still as active and sharp as it had always been. He's a very intelligent, introspective man. And he said that what concerned him about the way he was treated by the United States was not that the United States was for him or against him, but was the uncertainty of the policy. He says there's nothing worse when you are confronted with revolutionary and rebel forces and uncertainty insofar as support is concerned. One day, for example, he said statements would come in public and private from Washington indicating total support and urging him to stand firm. The next day, there would be some story leaked from a high-level aide printed all over the world and given particular credence in Tehran to the effect that lower-level or second-level people in the administration were meeting with Khomeini and others who were out to knock the Shah off or out, as the case might be. And then the next day, there would be a story to the effect that in the event that the Shah left Iran or was overthrown, the United States would be prepared to accept any government that the people chose. Well, he said all of this had the effect of encouraging his enemies and, of course, discouraging his own supporters. He said that was a mistake. And I believe it was a mistake, too. As a matter of fact, what happened to the Shah, I think, could only be interpreted in that part of the world and other parts of the world as well, is that it is dangerous to be a friend of the United States, and it may pay to be an enemy. I think what we have to understand is that the Shah was the best friend of the United States in that area, in the whole Persian Gulf area, and it was Israel's only friend. The Shah, we must remember, in the 1973 war, furnished oil for our Mediterranean fleet when the other countries in the area had cut it off. And the Shah tied down the Iraqi forces by supporting the Kurds against the Iraqis so that they never got involved in the 73 war. And I know that the Shah, when he spoke in Mexico about what had happened, he could not understand why it was that among his critics in the American media, there were some of Jewish background, not all, but some who were among his most violent critics because they were liberals and they thought he was too reactionary and the rest. And he just couldn't understand that because he was the only friend that Israel had in that whole area of the world.
Why did you go to his funeral?
First, because I knew him better than any world leader I have met over the past 37 years of public life in and out of it. I met him first back in 1953 when I was a young vice president and he was a very young Shah in his early 30s. And I met him over 10 or 12 times after that. I found him to be a very sensitive man, a very intelligent man, one who understood the world as well as any leader that I had met, who could talk about India or Pakistan or China or Latin America with, frankly, as much perception and sophistication as any American leader could possibly talk about it. And I had great respect for him. And I think the major reason I went, though, I must say, was because I was concerned that our own government, again, I suppose, because of the hostage situation, was not going to be represented at the funeral by a high-level person.
Were you concerned that your going might embarrass President Carter?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, it occurred to me that President Carter probably deep down wished he could have gone, but he couldn't. He didn't feel that he could because of the hostage situation. No, I went because the Shah was my friend. He was a friend of the United States, and I thought that some high-level individual from the United States ought to be there. You see, the important thing that we've got to get across to the people in countries that are wavering between standing with us or going in the other direction or remaining neutral is that the United States is not a fair weather friend, that we will stand by our friends and allies when they are down as well as when they are up. Now, that may not make good diplomacy, but I think it in the short run, but in the long term, I think it's absolutely essential if we're going to build the kind of support and respect and confidence in the United States that we need to have.
Mr. Nixon, America has been criticized for abandoning friends like the Shah, whom you strongly supported, and you've criticized our abandoning him. But isn't the danger just as great in sticking with regimes that have lost the support of their people, like the Shah, like Somoza, like Ian Smith? Again and again, it's said that we back despots and dictators.
I couldn't disagree with you more. What you have to understand is that the choice was never between the Shah and somebody better, but between the Shah and somebody infinitely worse.
Well, we don't know
And
that
what
in the
you have to-
beginning.
Well, the point is, if we didn't know it at the beginning, we'd better know it now. We have friends all over the world like the Shah, and we have friends, for example, in Saudi Arabia at the present time. Because that government happens to be corrupt, it is claimed, are we going to abandon them? Let's take China, for example. Because China is more Stalinist than the Soviet Union, are we going to say that we're going to abandon them? No.
But don't we ever say this man is no good for this country, this man is a dictator, this man is a despot, and maybe it could be better? Or do we automatically assume it won't be?
We do not automatically assume anything. We have to use our influence and use it effectively, but it's got to be used with a rifle rather than a shotgun, and we must not jump from the frying pan into the fire. It was a great mistake to do what we did to the Shah, and if that had not happened, we wouldn't have the hostage situation today. If the United States doesn't stand up for its friends, we're not going to have friends. That's true of the Shah. It's true of others as well. The choice is not a good one many times. The choice is between, however, for example, when you really equate the Shah with some of the others, I'm really surprised because the choice is between one who is a friend of the United States, whatever may be his failings, and one who is an enemy. One who tries to export his revolution and one who is trying to at least not threaten his neighbors. One who allows, as the Shah did, as you very well know, who allows some human rights, who allows some political rights, and does allow economic rights, and another.
Again, for the record, when he says some political rights, that's because the Shah of Iran had banned communism because in the 1960s and 70s, that's the Cold War. That was the height of the Cold War era. And the Shah was protecting Iran from falling under the Iron Curtain. So it was the country was in a Cold War. So obviously he banned communism.
Regime that allows none. I would say there's no question about which side I come down on there. And the same is true of Somoza. The same is true of some of the others as well. I don't approve of some of them, but I would say I prefer some rights rather than none. And that's the choice that we have to face up to. or the United States is going to cease to be a great power.
There you go. So that's what President Richard Nixon said about our Shah. Guys, so in terms of like flight radar tracking, things like that, I mean, let's be blunt. The United States military, when they're going to be attacking, it's not going to be visible on flight radar, right? Guys, keep in mind that when the B-2s went and destroyed the nuclear facilities, the underground nuclear facilities of the Islamic dictatorship, no one knew about it until President Trump posted about it on Truth Social. Remember? So again, it's completely irrelevant what anyone who is not affiliated with the U.S. government, high-level U.S. government, has to say, right? So there's going to be a lot of rumors going around. There's going to be a lot of people giving their opinions, whatever the case might be. But unless and until President Trump or someone makes like an official announcement, right? I mean, there's literally no point in tracking anything on flight radar, because even if, let's say, something is showing, it's being done on purpose to like confuse people, right? Like, guys, the U.S. military is incredibly powerful. Whenever they strike, like they're going to strike and no one's going to know about it. So it's just a matter of waiting, pretty much waiting and waiting. Oh, thank you for sharing these Nixon videos. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Happy to do that. I mean, they are very informative, and I mean, this is just what's really frustrating for us Iranians is that when it comes to our Shah, the historical revisionism that's been involved, like the historical revisionism is absolutely frustrating. And I would say that the smear pieces and the propaganda pieces against the Shah of Iran, our beloved Shah, is probably the most successful example of a smear campaign and historical revisionism ever. Like literally in the history of human civilization. I mean, just think about how the mainstream media has been trying to demonize and smear President Trump. You know how they've been constantly attacking President Trump? So take that times a million, right? Take that times a million. That's basically what they've done to the Shah of Iran. And yet we Iranians, we love our Shah the same way that Americans, vast majority of you, support President Trump because that mainstream media is lying about him, right? And have you noticed it's the same group of people who are attacking President Trump that are also smearing our Shah, right? So you got the Islamists, right? The jihadis, the Allahu Akbar people. Then you have the communists, right? Then you have the progressives. You have the Democrats, right? You have the socialists. You have the academics. You have the mainstream media, right? The exact same coalition, the exact same group of people that are, trying to smear President Trump. Right? Exact same coalition and group of people that have been doing that to our Shah for a very, very long time. So it all boils down to that sort of anti-imperialist rhetoric, right? Anti-imperialist narrative. So I hope that gives you guys a bit of a bit of context, right? So that's exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, Iranians, right? Iranians around the world are rallying in support of King Reza Pahlavi, right? So here's one example. So this was so these are Iranians in Cyprus, and they're in front of the Islamic Republic, in front of the French embassy.
فرانسه و دارن یک صدا مردم ایران رو فریاد میزنن.
So they're saying stop supporting terrorists.
و یک صدا کینگ رضا پهلوی رو داد میزنن.
So there's that. And then let me see what else I can find in terms of demonstrations. Okay. Oh, did they translate this? Oh, wow. Okay, so here's a new video. Here, let me just share this. Okay. So here's new testimony, guys. This is new testimony. And Manoto provided the subtitles so you guys can follow along. Whenever Armin comes back, well, he's going to take a break after his discussion group probably, but whenever Armin comes back, I'm going to ask him to translate this. But for now, guys, just pay attention here. Okay, so this is viewer discretion is advised. Oof. I don't know if I'll be able to show this then.
از دوشگاه تا دراگانوف سلاح‌هایی که به قلب جوانان ایران شلیک کردند. هیچ چیز دردناکتر از این نیست که مجبور باشید با دقت و زبانی فنی توضیح بدهید با چه کالیبری به سینه فرزندان میهنتان شلیک کردند. اما اگر نگوییم، اگر ننویسیم، اگر نشان ندهیم، جنایت دوباره تکرار می شود. این گزارش برای تاریخ است، برای مادرانی که هنوز نمی دانند گلوله‌ای که فرزندشان را کشت از چه سلاحی شلیک شد، برای جهانی که باید بداند جمهوری اسلامی با تفنگی جنگی به بچه‌های ایران شلیک کرد. تهیه این گزارش فقط مرور چند تصویر یا شناسایی چند مدل سلاح نیست. این گزارش روایت ایستادگی هموطنان ما روبروی مرگ است. جوانانی که گلوله‌های جنگی آنها را کشت و اسلحه به کار رفته برای قتل آنها شماره، کالیبر و مدل مشخص داشت.
دست کرج با تیر جنگی میزنن مردمو.
تصاویر و فشنگ‌هایی که در روزهای اخیر از صحنه جنایت‌های رژیم به مناطق رسیده پرده دیگر از ابعاد واقعی جنایت را کنار می‌زنند.
این همه فشنگ جنگی جمهوری اسلامی.
جنایتی که با استفاده گسترده سلاح‌های جنگی سنگین علیه شهروندان بی‌دفاع انجام شده. اما فشنگ‌ها چه میگویند؟ تصاویر دریافت شده از پوکه‌ها و مهمات استفاده شده نشان می‌دهد نیروهای وابسته به سپاه و بسیج و البته نیابتی‌های عراقی، لبنانی و افغان به طور سازمان یافته از مهمات جنگی استفاده کردند. مهماتی که برای میدان جنگ طراحی شده‌اند، نه خیابان‌های شهر. در میان این فشنگ‌ها پوکه‌های 12.7 در 8 میلیمتری دیده می‌شود. این پوکه‌ها کالیبر 12.7 مهماتی که به طور مشخص به تیربار سنگین دوشگاه یا نمونه چینی آن SG-43 تعلق دارند. این سلاح‌ها با قدرت نفوذ بالا برای هدف قرار دادن خودروهای زرهی و مواضع نظامی ساخته شدند. استفاده از آنها علیه شهروندان غیر مسلح به معنای حذف کامل شانس زنده ماندن است. سلاح‌ها روی خودرو، رو به مردم. ویدیوها و تصاویر تایید شده نشان می‌دهد تیربارهای سنگین روی خودروهای زرهی نصب شده و مستقیما به سوی تجمعات مردمی نشانه رفتند. این دیگر شلیک پراکنده یا خطای فردی نیست. آتش مستقیم به جمعیت است. در کنار آن تصاویر شاهدان عینی از استفاده گسترده از سلاح تک‌تیرانداز دراگانوف اسویدی حکایت دارد. سلاحی ساخت اتحاد جماهیر شوروی که برای شکار انسان از فاصله دور طراحی شده است. هدف این سلاح نه متفرق کردن جمعیت، بلکه کشتن دقیق است. همچنین شواهد نشان می‌دهد از انواع کلاشینکوف AK-47 و تفنگ‌های ساچمه‌ای هم در سرکوب استفاده شده است. ترکیبی مرگبار برای ایجاد وحشت و زخمی کردن گسترده و قتل. این جمله کوتاه خلاصه است از آنچه در خیابان‌های ایران رخ داد. حکومت مردم ایران را دشمن فرض کرد و با سلاح دشمن با آنها رفتار کرد. استفاده از سلاح‌های سنگین علیه غیرنظامیان طبق همه اسناد بین‌المللی نقض فاحش حقوق بشر و مصداق جنایت علیه بشریت است. سازمان‌های حقوق بشری پیشتر این اقدامات را محکوم کردند، اما تصاویر جدید نشان می‌دهد ابعاد فاجعه فراتر از آن چیزی است که تصور می‌شد. این سلاح‌ها فقط فلز و باروت نیستند. هر پوکه نشانه یک شلیک است و هر شلیک شاید پایان زندگی یک دختر، یک پسر، یک جوان ایرانی که فقط زندگی می‌خواست.
Yeah. That last video, that's basically the person who was filming was shot dead. So that's how, that's literally his last moments right here. Yeah. So there's a news report by Manoto News. Let's see what else I can find for you guys here with subtitles. What's this? Okay, so apparently they're reporting a senior U.S. official told Fox News that the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln has entered the U.S. Central Command's CENTCOM operational area in the Indian Ocean following increased threats from Iran. Fox News reported that accounts have emerged of the transfer of Ali Khamenei, leader of the Islamic Republic, to underground locations, which sources say could be a sign of Tehran's preparations for military action. We have a super chat. Shida Ladani says, thank you, Goldie and Armin, for all the hard work you do. Thank you so much. We're here, happy to do this. And, like we've said from the beginning, qasam be khune yaran istadeim ta payan. So we will be here every day for Iran Revolution Live until victory. Until the day that our Shah steps foot in Iran, we will not stop. We will not stop. There's actually some good news I wanted to share. So a letter has come out. So this was just posted a couple hours ago by King Reza Pahlavi's comms account. So a letter of 260 professionals urging political recognition of Prince Reza Pahlavi as the legitimate representative of the unifying leader of the Iranian democratic opposition, an end to engagement with the Islamic Republic, IRGC terrorist designation, and firm diplomatic action. So let me read this for you guys. So this was Brussels, January 19th. So to the attention of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Minister, we, the undersigned, professionals, journalists, physicians, professors, artists, organizations, human rights and political activists from Iran and the international community respectfully and urgently submit this international appeal calling for an immediate series of actions to assist the Iranian people in the face of the brutal repression perpetrated by the Islamic Republic regime and to help expedite the collapse of this regime. For several years, the Iranian people have repeatedly and massively expressed their rejection of the ruling regime and their demand for universally recognized fundamental rights, including freedom, human dignity, the rule of law, and the right to live without fear of repression. These peaceful movements have been systematically met with extreme violence and resulted in thousands of deaths. The current uprising, however, has reached an entirely different scale. The international community has borne witness to unprecedented scenes of a nationwide, structured, and enduring uprising. This time, the response of the ruling regime profoundly shocked the international community. Within a short period, the entire country was plunged into darkness and all communication systems were shut down. Cut off from the outside world and placed in total isolation, the regime carried out a massacre of at least 12,000 peaceful protesters. We know that number is much higher. Young couples, teenagers, and even children who peacefully and joyfully demanded dignity and freedom were executed by the regime's forces. The images are haunting and unbearable. Arbitrary arrests, widespread violence, and summary convictions and executions continue to intensify, while the absence of firm and decisive responses from the international community risks further reinforcing the regime's sense of impunity. Before the country was forcibly plunged into darkness, hundreds of videos shared by Iranians from within the country documented widespread public and repeated slogans for the Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, in cities across the nation. While it would be neither reasonable nor realistic to expect every Iranian to do so, just as no leader in democratic societies secures unanimous electoral support, the salient fact remains that no other name was chanted. In parallel, during a conference held in Munich on July 26, 2025, I was at that conference, by the way, members of the Iranian diaspora reached a consensus recognizing his leadership of the opposition and agreed on 4 guiding principles based on Iran's territorial integrity, secularism, human rights, and democracy. This dynamic constitutes a clear and unequivocal expression of popular demand for a unifying national leadership capable of guiding a peaceful and stable transition. Both within Iran and throughout the diaspora, Iranians clearly demonstrate that they no longer recognize the legitimacy of the Islamic Republic regime, now widely perceived as an occupying force that maintains power through violent repression. Consequently, the calls originating from both inside and outside the country confer legitimacy upon the Crown Prince as the only credible alternative. In this context, and in view of the urgency of the situation, we respectfully call upon your government to consider the following measures in accordance with and in respect of the will of the Iranian people. Number 1. Political recognition of Crown Prince in exile Reza Pahlavi as the legitimate representative of the Iranian people and the unifying leader of the Iranian democratic opposition. Number 2. Explicit recognition of the Iranian people's will and right to bring an end to the current regime and of the legitimacy of political and diplomatic international support toward that objective. 3. The adoption of strong and immediate diplomatic measures, including the closure of diplomatic representations of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the expulsion of its representatives, and the freezing of the regime's assets. Number 4. The designation of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, as a terrorist organization in light of its central role in domestic repression and destabilizing activities abroad. We are convinced that peace in the Middle East and international stability and safety necessarily depend on the emergence of a free and sovereign Iran that respects human rights and democratic principles. The time has come to assist the Iranian nation in achieving its legitimate right to liberation and self-determination. Given the scale and gravity of the documented violations, a clear, coherent, and swift political response is indispensable. Please accept, Mr. Minister, the assurances of our highest consideration. And then it's, listing all of the signatories here. So there you go. All the signatories are there. So there's a important update. This is something that NIAC posted he's got the translations here, but this is a 7-minute long video. I'm gonna wait until Armin comes back, and then he's gonna. I want him to translate this for you. So it's a doctor's testimony from Iran, recorded 1 week after the internet shutdown and the issuance of kill orders. So this is actually going to be like really, really horrific, but it's important. It's important that we share that information. So why don't you see? I'm looking at some of your comments here. Oh my gosh. It's like trolls in my chat. What's going on here? Sorry. I don't understand. Okay. Okay. What's going on here? What's this guy saying? Okay, so now apparently like Islamic regime officials are saying that President Trump is reluctant to strike Iran, and going after the supreme dictator is unrealistic. Okay, so now you're seeing Islamic regime propaganda. So now these guys, so the Islamic regime right now, they're bragging like this, guy, this Muslim Nazi terrorist. He's now bragging. He's basically saying that President Trump isn't going to attack because President Trump has no way of capturing Khamenei, and that whatever strikes happen, it's not going to topple the Islamic regime because the Islamic regime is too powerful, and President Trump doesn't have the strength to destroy the Islamic regime. Basically, like he's just talking at, oh, no one believes it. Oh no one believes it. We have a term for this, right? So when people talk nonsense like this, we call it sherovir. So let me guys, that'll be your Persian word for the day. Sherovir. Right? Sherovir. So this guy's basically talking sherovir. Sherovir dare mige. I'm not gonna do that one. I'm not gonna say the rude version. Sherovir. Yeah. Sherovir. So basically, yeah, I know. It's so sherovir is like the polite version of saying BS, right? Or nonsense. So yeah, it means BS, right? So we're just saying like he's talking nonsense, right? So sherovir. Sherovir is the polite way. It's the polite way. There's ruder versions of this word. I just put it up on the screen so you can see sherovir. I don't know. Sherovir. So sherovir. So this guy is just basically talking sherovir. Chertopert. Yeah, you could say chertopert too. So there's sherovir, there's chertopert. I don't know. Chertopert. I know there's ruder. I'm not gonna like say the ruder ones because yes, it's synonymous with that word. It's names. Yes, it is. Iranians, do you want me to? Okay, so there's two words. Sherovir or chert or pert. Let's see. There you go. So you could say sherovir or chertopert. Okay. Yeah, sherovir or chertopert. The O, so the O in the middle, the O is like it means and. So it's basically shir and ver, or like chert and pert. So chertopert. Yeah, there you go. You could say, so he's talking chertopert. Yeah. Dare chertopert mige, dare sherover mige. So it just means nonsense. So yeah, so now he's And then look at this. So this Muslim Nazi terrorist, he actually has the audacity. He has the audacity to criticize United States demands for negotiations as unacceptable, including surrendering all enriched uranium, curbing missiles, disarming Hezbollah, and recognizing Israel. He adds that Iran could consider a temporary 5-year freeze on uranium enrichment, stresses the power of deterrence, even claiming intercontinental missile capability. Oh, interesting. So now this Muslim Nazi is basically claiming that the Islamic Republic has intercontinental missile capability, and if the United States does not acquiesce to the demands of the Islamic regime, then they're going to send missiles to Washington. Do you see like how much they just talk nonsense? Do you see how they talk nonsense? Like this is it's insane. These people are literally insane. But there you go. There you go. No one but you know what, like guys, like no one believes this. Like no Iranian believes this, right? No one the documentary okay, yeah, let me the documentary is available on my YouTube channel. Here, let me add it. Let me add it to my Iran Revolution live. Sorry. The documentary is there, but let me add it to the playlist. Here you go. Save to playlist. Okay. All right. So you're talking about the 2,500 year anniversary. I just added that to my Iran Revolution live playlist. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find it there. Yeah, I know. We're all scared. We're all scared of the flying weed whackers, right? Because those flying weed whackers apparently are going to come all the way to Washington. Honestly, it's like it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. And then not only that, like these are the savage Muslim Nazis who've been, holding Iranians hostage. And then, for the last 47 years, because they've controlled the narrative and they've controlled the media, the rest of the world has thought that Iranians are like these people. So, the rest of the world thought that we're all a bunch of like, I don't know, Allahu Akbar, jihadi, like savages, right? Meanwhile, the vast majority of us have been afraid to speak out because anyone who speaks out gets death threats and they, they put our families in jail. But as you can tell, like all the fear has fallen, right? I mean, these people are so cowardly. Guys, remember, they assassinated Bapish Man, remember? They murdered Bapish Man. Here, let me pull it up for you guys. Right? So Feridun Farrokhzad, they murdered him, right? He was an Iranian showman, host, poet, political activist, singer, humanitarian writer. The guy was literally an artist. He was a poet, and they murdered him, right? So he was forced into exile after the 1979 revolution. After relocating to Germany, he was a victim of assassination set up by the Islamic Republic government as part of the chain murders of Iran, right? So there's Bapish Man, and they murdered him, right? So of course, many Iranians have been afraid to speak out because that's what they do. That's what they do. So yeah, he was a huge patriot. And again, the song that he wrote, the Bapish song that he wrote, oh, that's such a kind thing to say. Yeah, they murdered his body, but his soul will live forever. Yeah. And the song he wrote, Bapish, he wrote that back in the 1980s, in the hopes that whenever the revolution does happen, that the song would be played and that song would be part of the Iranian revolution. And thanks to you guys have made his dream come true. And I know that he's, smiling down on us from heaven. And I know that his spirit and soul are thrilled to know that Bapish has gone international and that Bapish will live on forever. It is such a good song. Here, why don't we play some Bapish in honor of Feridun Farrokhzad, Bapish man, as we call him. Oh, you got your t-shirt today, your Bapish shirt. Oh, yes, his spirit does Bapish. Yeah, his spirit Bapish is on. All right.
غرق انقلاب است. کشور ما، تاریخ ما در سینگر فرا گرفته، گویی اهورا مستا دوباره در نور خود مرا گرفته. هشتون سرودی سر میدهم باز فارغ از رنج و تشویش، ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. هن ای پدر هن ای پسر، برخیز و باماش و هنگام، تا درد آن تجربه تلخ ما را نکشیده در خواب. بگذار هر دم بغرند گرگ‌ها در لباس میش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ای کارگر ای برزگر، راحت کنون ادامه دارد در این زمان که پرتو یزدان از هر سو بر تو میبارد. پس پیش به سوی آزادی از بحر خزر تا کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. خلقا به پا بهر دفاع از استقلال و آزادی، تا بشکنیم پشت ارتجاع تیریزی ویران آبادی. تا زنده سازیم سنت‌های می از بر آیین و کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. با امید روزی که تمام این دلبشور و انقلاب تموم بشه و ما در روشنایی، نور و سعادت مردم کشورمون غرق بشیم. نه خارجی نه بیگانه، نه مستشارهای ویرانی، نه چیر خاران نه کاسه لیسان، فقط هم رزمان ایرانی. با شرافت میهنی بسازی بهر فرزندان خویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. مردان بیایی داخل صف ما، اکنون که آغاز رویاست. دشمنان بدانید ما زنده هستیم، بعد از ما هم ایران پابرجاست. آن روح شیطان ما را فریب داد با صد شعار مردمیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. پرچم ما پرچم ایران غرق خون شهیدان، روی شانه هامان حمل میکنیمش در در هر خیابان و میدان تا ماسک دلغکان را برداریم از روی تسبیح و ریش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش.
All right, guys, it is that time of the day where we're going to restart the live stream. So stay tuned. Make sure that you are liking and following. And we are going to restart in 5 minutes. See, let me just add this here. Got to add a little banner here. This is how you know Iran Revolution Live is low tech. All right. All right, guys, we'll see you in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
وقتی واسه غمنی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه. وقتی واسه غمنی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه. روبروم یه واژه یه هدف به نام انتقامه، پشت سرم دعای مادر و تو دستم تفنگ بابامه. رو زبونم اسم شاه بگین این عشق بی انتهاست، هر جا اسم ایران اومد اونجا صدای بچه رضاست. فردا می نویسن تو کتاب قصه دیمار، بگو با تیر جنگی کشتن بچه های بیگناه رو. بگو از بخت مادرها چیر زنا و دختران، بگو تنها شهید شدیم تا تنها نمونه شامون. وقتی واسه غمنی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه. وقتی واسه غمنی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه. وقتی واسه غمنی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست، همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست. روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما، سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه.